to the Kent Lapp Podcast.
Dr. Michael Major, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
It's an honor to have you.
I'm excited.
I've heard a lot of good things about you from my brother. That's how the connection was made.
Yeah.
You've been adjusting him and the family for some time, I believe.
Yeah, quite a bit.
First of all, you have a tattoo all across the front of your chest. I saw it on your Instagram picture.
Yeah.
Can we see that on the podcast right now, please?
Is that
How
the
far?
camera?
Yeah. How far up you got to go?
So that's up here.
What do you have here? Soon enough.
Soon enough.
Soon enough. There's wings.
Wings, cage, heart, lock.
Where's the lock?
Right there.
Yeah. Nice. The reason that's nice, actually. Really nice. When did you get that?
Oh, man. So after graduation of chiropractic school, my wife was a year ahead of me. And so she went to Ohio and worked for a doc until I finished school. And then we both went to Naples, Florida.
Okay.
And we trained under some doctors there to really teach us how to run a business. Because in school, you learn none of that.
Really?
You learn anatomy, physiology, how to adjust the spine, how to find a subluxation, how to figure out how to fix it, and then that's it. So
they're not teaching you the business side of chiropractic care?
I mean, we have business classes, but they're pointless.
Interesting.
Like, you don't learn enough to go out and start a practice.
Yep.
So we went to Naples, and we were there for a few months, and her and I, we just weren't, like, it wasn't clicking for us.
Okay.
And
you're saying you're married or no?
Yeah, we're married.
Okay. And I'm sorry, the relationship wasn't clicking, or just being down there?
Being like figuring out how do we start this practice thing? How do we do all of this stuff? And
Gotcha.
we're like, you know what? Let's just go get a freaking tattoo.
Okay.
So we found this shop. I had talked to the guys earlier about like trying to set up like a talk at their business, because we do that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And the guy was kind of like, nah, we're good, whatever. I'm like, yeah, but can I get a tattoo? And he's like, sure. When do you want to do it? So I talked to her and we're like, let's go. So we go, and I got this done, and she got some poppies on her shoulder.
Oh, okay.
And so it was just like this thing of my history is, I got a lot going on in my past. And
okay.
It was like I wanted to break open the cage. So there's a heart in the middle of the cage, and there's a rose in there, just because I think flowers, they show change, right?
Yes. Yeah.
The blooming of a flower. So that was the point where like really I started to open up my heart.
Oh, wow.
Because I was really closed off. I wasn't a good communicator with people. I wouldn't talk to people. I just kind of held everything in, and I'd get really angry and explode and all that stuff. So finally it was like, something's got to change. So I was like, let's open the cage.
Wow.
So described it to the dude, and he was like, I got it. Boom, put it all together.
That's really cool. What year was this? How long ago?
Oh man, that was probably 2014.
Okay.
The beginning of 2014, I think.
Okay.
Or the end of
2013. And you're married at this point?
Yeah, we've been married since 2011.
Okay.
But we've been together for like 17 years.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, you grew up in the same town?
No.
Or you just...
we met, she was in high school.
Okay.
And I was out in Virginia in the military doing all that stuff. And we met. I saw her from the second story window, and I said, that's the girl I'm going to marry.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. You don't hear it. I've heard that before, but I don't hear it that often, to be honest with you.
No, I've never I never thought that kind of stuff was real. Like, like love at first sight, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And again, like through my past, I did what I wanted and when I wanted, where I wanted. And it was just like, but I was I was really trying to hide a lot of stuff, just hurt and pain. And so I'd numbed it any way I could. And then I saw her and I was like, holy smokes.
This is high school you saw her?
So she was she was 17 and I was 21 years old.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So she was a baby.
Okay. You got a head start.
And my mother was like, don't you dare touch her.
Really? What is the soon enough now? It says soon enough there.
So soon enough we got that tattoo. We both have that. Her and I. We got that in Colorado.
Okay.
We were at a chiropractic seminar, and again, we were just like, let's go get a tattoo.
So you got soon enough later?
No, soon enough was there first. It was just that. And then
okay.
like the dude in Naples was like, "Hey, let's add
Okay.
to like put it all together." So we put like that banner around it, tied it up really nice. And so the soon enough thing was, so we've known each other for 17 years, but for the first 8 years ish of our relationship, we didn't live in the same state.
Oh, I see.
So she lived in Illinois and I lived in Virginia.
Yep.
And then she lived in Illinois, I lived in Ohio. Then she lived in Indiana, I lived in Ohio. Then she lived in Indiana, I lived in Kentucky.
Oh, wow.
And then she moved to Iowa, and then I moved to Iowa to go to school.
I see. Okay. And are you moving around at this point a bit because you're in the military at this time or no?
No, that was all for like post-military schooling, like figuring out what am I going to do with my life.
Yes.
So my family lives in Ohio.
Okay.
So after being in Virginia, we went to Ohio.
Yep.
Hung out with the fam, and then it was like, I want to do this chiropractic thing.
Okay.
Because I got injured in the military.
Okay.
And they wanted to do surgery, and I'm like, not happening. So I was on the only base in the U.S. that had a chiropractor on it. Dude adjusted me twice that night I was playing football. I was
Whoa.
like, all right.
We need to come back to that.
Something to this.
The reason I asked about your tattoo was I only have two. I have a bison over here, and then on my left side right here, it says, "There is an anchor for my soul."
Yeah.
And I've always really liked that. I didn't know until recently, actually, that the really early Christians, an anchor was actually the more popular Christian symbol than a fish. Yeah, it's the fish. So there's like anchor, and for good reason, because, those early Christians, they had a lot of persecution too. Mm-hmm. So the idea that there's an anchor for your soul really, meant a lot, which it's always meant a lot to me too. So I finally got the tattoo. But, the tattoo over here, okay, it hurt. It hurt worse than I was expecting. You know what I mean? But a couple years later, when I went back in for this one on the side, I laid down on the table and put my arm up, and she hit that with the needle. And dude, I'm telling you right now, there was not a question in my mind that I was not going to make it through. I was sure I was not going to be able to make it through there.
Yeah.
I did not. I cannot describe. Apparently, we've had 5 kids, right? So my wife knows about giving birth. And there's something in the birthing process that referred to as the ring of fire, which I can, only imagine. The only way I know how to equate the tattoo on the side right here under your armpit, right on your side by your ribs, is like that ring of fire for an hour, just getting rubbed around on the side. It was awful, dude. And I was sweating. I was barely breathing. And I was just trying to think of anything I could just to make it through. Yeah. And about an hour in, because this one took about 3 or 4 hours, actually.
Yeah.
And about an hour in, she stopped, and I was expecting her to say, "Okay, we're halfway done." And I was just like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it. And as it turns out, she was done. Oh, wow. So she never asked how I'm doing. Never once did she ask how I'm doing. She never asked if I needed a break. Just barely got it done. Anyhow, and I don't have a super high pain tolerance, but I'm telling you, it hurt, dude. However, what she said was, the only place worse than the side is right here on your sternum, which I think you got it right there, don't you?
Not that low.
It's pretty okay. It's up a little bit more. Yeah. I mean, she just said she's had, when she hits that spot, grown men, big old dudes are just like tearing up and can barely take it.
Collarbone is not comfortable. My Achilles, that one was kind of painful.
Right here?
Right in the back of like your ankle. So I got a tribal thing on the back of my leg.
On the back of your ankle?
So like there.
Oh, that has to kill. So I asked her afterwards what people do. Like, do people take Tylenol before they come in here? She was like, no, most people just grin and bear it.
Yeah. It's kind of part of the process.
Coffee enemas.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, we were just talking before we hit record that I was flipping through some of your podcasts, and they're really great. I enjoyed it. I listened to, I think, 2, and then I told you this, but I was having trouble figuring out which ones to listen to because I was scrolling through. You have like 70 plus on there. Yeah. And I'll be like, okay, I want to hear that one. Oh, shoot, I want to hear that one. Oh, there's one on depression. I want to hear that one. There's one on fats. I definitely want to hear that. It was great. But you mentioned that you've talked about coffee enemas on your podcast.
Yeah, it's my favorite podcast that we did.
And by the way, what's the name of the podcast if people want to find it?
So it's The Health Majors.
The Health Majors. Yeah. So if they search The Health Majors in podcast, they'd be able to find it.
Right there.
And then we can put a link to. But So I've heard about coffee enemas, but never tried it. What's the situation?
So my wife, she's dealt with like candida for a while.
What is
so
that?
it's like candida is a bacteria.
Okay.
So it's like a bacterial overgrowth that can cause havoc in your system. So for her, it would like present itself through her skin. So she'd get like these red blotchy spots or kind of dried out spots. And so one of her friends was like, hey, you need to try these coffee enema things. And it's really our best friend. She gets mad at me that I say that, but because it was her best friend. They've been best friends since they were 8 years old.
Oh, okay.
She's a chiropractor as well.
Oh, okay.
So she's like, hey, you need to try this coffee enema thing. And then they started talking to me about it. I was like, there's no way I'm ever going to do a coffee enema. I'm never sticking anything up my butt. Sorry, not going to happen. And so my wife started doing them, and it really started helping because what it does is it helps clean out your gallbladder and your liver. Like it'll help pull out some of the toxins and you just expel it into the toilet. So finally I was like, I just got to try this thing out. So I had done, I did a 21-day water fast in chiropractic school. And like around.
All you ate for 21 days was water?
Well, I guess I had a coconut water for lunch.
Yeah.
About a cup of coconut water. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the rest of it was just water.
For 21 days?
21 days. Wow. And so it was like the late teens. And I'm like, you know what? Like my stomach was like just tight, kind of like in knots. And there's nothing in there, so nothing's coming out, right? So I was like, I'm going to try this thing out. So she was gone. Nobody was home. So I'm like...
You just couldn't do it when she was there?
Yeah. Oh, there's no way.
That's how it has to be for me, too.
So like I get everything ready in the bathroom, and like I've seen her set everything up. So I'm like, I kind of know the deal. And so I'm in the bathroom, and I start doing this thing. Like literally, I don't know, seconds within me getting any type of coffee inside of my system. And like the bucket's high, so it's like rushing in. I just didn't understand the whole deal about that. But so all of this coffee floods my system. And I couldn't hold it.
Wow.
And I'm like, I'm not making it to the toilet.
Or you're in the bathroom already, though?
In the bathroom. But I'm on the floor, like kind of curled in a ball.
Okay.
Trying to get this thing to go inside. And I'm like, this isn't happening. There's no way. So basically, I just jumped, turned, and sprayed the entire shower. Just
no.
And the thing is, there like wasn't anything in my system, so it was all these like little tiny like poop pellets.
Oh,
just
no.
like.
Oh man.
So it was the gnarliest thing ever. So it took me a while.
And you had to clean it up. I assume.
Had to clean. Yeah.
Oh,
that's
that
what
is
probably took
awful.
the longest.
Oh. I don't. It's still, in some ways, still better than throw up. It seems a little bit.
Oh,
dude, I can't handle vomit.
It's
awful. I mean, I can't imagine that was much better.
Yeah, it's kind of like vomit for your rear,
for your butt. What is so an enema? I understand. Basically, you're sticking something in your butt. Now, a coffee enema. What is this? Is this hot coffee? Is this coffee beans? What's the system?
So it's a really,
how do you do it?
It's got to be organic, like no pesticides, because coffee is one of the most pesticide laden crops in the world. So you got to make sure that it's like the cleanest coffee you can get, and then you just make coffee. So you'll fill a pot of water, let it boil for about 5 minutes. I like to let mine simmer for 10 or 15, and then you transfer it to the bucket once it's cooled down a little bit. And then my wife will add like ice cubes to it so she can do it faster. She's usually on a time crunch. And then then that's it. You put that brewed coffee, you strain it, obviously, make sure you don't have any grounds. And then that's what you use for the enema. And what it does is it excites the walls of your intestinal lining, but then it is able to permeate through the gallbladder to allow you to help cleanse out your gallbladder. And then there's other cleanses that we do. And
fascinating. So the coffee, when you make the coffee, Is it the same water grinds mixture that you would if you were just going to drink it?
So we use, it's 32 ounces of water and it's like 3 tablespoons of coffee.
32 ounces of water and 3 tablespoons of coffee.
I'm pretty sure
That's not that much coffee.
I don't really measure. That's a guesstimate.
Yeah.
I don't measure anything.
3 tablespoon coffee. Obviously organic, non-pesticides.
Yeah.
You're making it just like you're going to drink it. So I'm just kind of curious. Here's a coffee pot. Right here, actually. Does this say how many ounces? I mean,
That's probably 24.
I mean, but you're not putting...
Not all at once. Well...
You're not putting this much...
Coffee?
You're not using this much water, are you?
Oh, yeah.
You're putting this much coffee up your butt?
You do it about 8-ish ounces at a time, 8 to 12. So it'll end up being like, and you try to hold it as long as you can. And the more often you do it, the longer your body can hold it. But that first one, because I didn't have anything in my body except for water.
Okay. Right.
It was like, my body was like, what's going on? Let's get this out of here.
So that is so much more water than I would have thought. It's so much more. It's more content than I was thinking.
Oh, you can. I mean, our friend will put 32 and hold it.
So, but what's more common is put in 8 ounces.
Yeah.
Expel.
Yep.
8 ounces. Expel.
Yeah. And then another 8.
Wow, that's a lot, man. So, anatomy-wise, so you have the large intestine, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Correct. If you're basically your butt and the large intestine.
Yeah.
And then small intestine.
Yeah. That's about as high as you're gonna get.
Okay, but where's the gallbladder?
So the gallbladder sits. It's not in the intestines. It's near the intestines. But that coffee allows expands. So inside of your intestines, you have like these little grooves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what it'll do is it helps open those up. And that's how she was just on your show. She was talking about
Jamie Aurora?
Yes.
Yeah.
So leaky gut.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
So when leaky gut, the walls already got massive holes, right?
Yes.
Basically just punched in it from all the garbage that we eat.
Yep.
So what we're trying to do is expand that.
Okay.
And then allow the coffee to exit and it'll get in and it just excites the gallbladder. And literally it'll start to like squeeze and then it'll push out the excess gunk.
Interesting. Now the liver is attached to the intestines, right? It goes liver and then the small intestine and the large intestine?
No.
No? But the liver does process everything we eat or
Yes.
drink, correct?
Through the bloodstream. So it's not directly like it doesn't.
Gotcha. Okay.
Food doesn't go through the liver.
Now we know why I'm not a doctor.
You had me questioning for a second. I'm like, wait a minute.
Okay.
Wait, just
Food does not go through the liver.
No. Blood.
Gotcha. I see. Okay. So big blocks is stomach, small intestine, large intestine.
Yeah.
And the coffee enema is expelling things in your large intestine, gallbladder, and liver.
It'll pull from the liver. Yeah.
And
it'll
pull
help
from the liver.
jumpstart the liver.
And what specifically would you be after with that? What's the case for coffee enemas? Is there a particular use or just as a cleanse?
It's more of a cleanse.
Okay.
My wife will tell you a lot more about it. There's, I mean, she'll recommend it to certain people, specifically like digestive stuff. If somebody's got like IBS or some kind of even leaky gut, basically what you're trying to do is cleanse it, pull everything out, and then rebuild from there.
I'm pretty sure I have leaky gut. So
I heard y'all talking about, you were like, does everybody have it? Or is it like a yes or no kind of a thing?
Dude, I'm probably at about day 20 of carnivore.
Yeah, love it.
Dude, my brother mentioned that you've been on carnivore before, so I want to talk about it. Talk about it very briefly with Jamie. The only other time I had done it, I think was in fall of 2018 for 6 or 7 days. That was it. I'm on day 20, and man, I'm feeling good, man.
Felt great.
Honestly, I feel really good. CrossFit's about to open back up again. Thankfully, I have some pieces of equipment here, but of course, you don't work. I don't work myself by myself like I do in a group. It's a shame.
That group setting changes the whole game.
Yeah, it does. But so I'm looking forward to actually, working out decently again every day. But man, I feel so much better on the carnivore diet. So I should maybe consider the coffee enema thing too.
Might as well.
Because
when you're on carnivore, like your bowel movements almost disappear.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, they're small.
Yep.
Right, and they're very infrequent, and it's because every part of meat is usable. So the reason why you poop, and you poop a lot, is because you eat fiber, right? And fibers, there's soluble and insoluble. So your body will expel everything it can't use, which is a lot when we're talking about things that have cell walls that are hard.
Yes.
Meat, you can digest and use almost 100% of it.
Fascinating. It's what I've thought before when I've seen, if you've ever seen coyote poop, but in New York we used to have coyotes, and you occasionally see coyote scat, and there is not much there, and there's a lot of like fur in it, like the fur of whatever animal, the rabbit that they ate. There's fur in it, but there's not that much there because they're mostly meat eaters. Yep. So one thing I have not experienced with the carnivore diet is diarrhea.
Never.
Yeah, because I've heard that's somewhat familiar, or that's common with the carnivore diet is diarrhea, but I never got it.
I've heard more like constipation, but it's not really.
Okay.
I think people mistake constipation for just everything's being used up, so there's not a lot to poop out. Right.
Yeah, I can testify to that for sure. The fiber thing is interesting because I had a friend that had not IBS, but discomfort and even some bleeding and things, and it was fiber. It was too much fiber. His body was, whatever fiber he was eating, it was too much, or it was too bad, or something. It was like scratching his body.
It also slows down your digestion. So, like, yeah, it will it'll help like push stuff through, but it slows down that digestion process. Like, you eat meat and your body starts breaking it down right away. And it's like, oh yeah, let's take this protein over here. Let's take this fat over here. Let's break this down into amino. Like, it's just like game on.
Yeah.
But you eat all these, like, a vegan diet. I've done it all. Like, we've done raw vegan, we've done, I did carnivore. She didn't do carnivore. She tried it for like 2 days. It wasn't her thing. But we've tried like paleo. We're doing like Whole30 kind of a thing right now, which is not easy. I thought it was going to be a lot easier than it is.
Really?
It's very hard to find stuff that doesn't have, like, even adding things to our food. Like, we do bulletproof coffee every morning.
Okay.
We put stevia in it. You can't have stevia. So we're like, oh man, like, just small things that we do on a normal basis. We just can't do it. So it's been a little bit of a struggle. But it's interesting.
Well, what I've found, and it's just only been 2 times I've done carnivore, but this time it's really sticking. I don't know how long I'm going to do it, but I'm feeling good. So I'm not about to stop, to be honest with you. But the times that I've tried keto, I've never done paleo. My body does feel good on a keto type diet. Yeah. Keto, carnivore, my body just appreciates it. I mean, I've not done a lot of blood work to see like what's going on, but just the way I feel and everything, I know that's good for my body. However, with the problem I've had with keto is there's enough of food that you can eat that is a middle ground to eating food you can't eat. In other words, for me, it's actually fairly easy to eat carnivore. It's meat. I'm eating eggs, bacon, that type of thing.
Done.
Pig out, eat as much as you want, done. But don't eat anything else. That's it. That's all you can have. Have as much as you want, but nothing else. Where I run into problems is like if I'm going to go do keto, but then so you're eating a lot of what the family's eating, but then not some. But then I'm like, well, shoot, this is not that big a deal. Next thing I'm cheating. Next thing it's just the whole thing's just blown.
Yeah.
I've never done good at dieting at all. Actually, I have not done many diets at all, aside from this carnivore. When did you do carnivore, and what were you doing it for?
When did I do it? So we had a patient come in, and his girlfriend at the time she had like massive digestive problems, really bad acne, just kind of like aches and pains. And he read up on the carnivore diet and talked her into getting on it with him. And it cleared everything up for her.
Wow.
So I was like, well, I will never recommend anything to somebody that I haven't tried myself. That was one of the big reasons why I was like, well, I got to do this coffee enema thing. Cause I can't tell somebody, hey, you should try this coffee enema. Like,
yep.
Oh, what is that? How does it work? Okay. So this is what I did. Don't do this.
Right. Have some adult supervision.
I just I want to be able to come from a personal place of like, look, this is what it did for me. Boom, 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 boom. This is what I liked. This is what I didn't like. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do carnivore 6 weeks. Done. And I've never felt better in my life. The problem is I train for triathlons and my workouts are like between 30 minutes to 2 hours. There's no carbohydrates in a carnivore diet.
Right.
So once I burn that, my body's like especially 6 weeks in, like I didn't have any reserves. I lost 6 pounds and I didn't have 6 pounds to lose.
Oh, wow.
So it was like my body was like searching and it was just, I would die at like 45 minutes tops. My body would just be
of
like,
your
nope.
workout?
Not going any farther. So,
and the thing is, you can't eat meat 45 minutes in and have that effect anytime soon, right?
No,
like that's going to take some time.
And that's tough. First of all, eating while working out is hard.
Oh yeah.
Eating meat while working out
I can't imagine trying
extremely difficult.
Oh yeah.
Like it's got to be. That's why like a lot of endurance people, they do the gels because it's literally like scoop it in your mouth, suck it, swallow it, and you're done.
Yes.
And it'll hit your system pretty quick.
Yes.
And there's good ways to do it and bad ways to do that, obviously. So I was just like, I have to start adding carbs back into my diet if I'm going to continue this training cycle. So it was a slow process of just adding.
Yeah. Was this any time recently?
Yeah, it was.
That you did the 6
weeks? It was
weeks?
last year.
Oh, wow.
I think so.
Okay. And when you added carbs back in, what were the ones that you added back in?
Spinach and avocados. That's where I started.
Okay. Well, that's not getting crazy.
No.
So spinach can give you...
I mean, we eat pretty clean, really clean, actually. I mean, I love pizza, I love ice cream, but we eat extremely clean.
Yeah.
So
that's good. It's hard to eat clean.
I don't see. For me, it's not.
Well, maybe it's not for you if it's a lifestyle.
Yeah, that's the thing.
You've seen what happens if you don't.
Yeah.
And you're in contact with people that
don't.
You're just seeing this every day.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely get your point on that. But you don't have much. There's not much carbs to be gotten out of spinach, is there?
I mean, yeah, there is, but avocados for sure.
Okay.
First, good healthy fat. So like we eat more of a keto style diet anyway.
Okay.
So like very high fat.
Yes.
Very minimal carbs.
Okay.
And like almost zero processed food.
Gotcha.
So for me, my body, as soon as I started putting spinach and avocados in my diet, my energy level, like an hour in, was still there.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you use those gels a lot too?
So I do use a gel. It's like Springer or something like that.
Okay.
It's a lot. There's no it's not a sugar spike.
Okay.
There's a lot more like quinoa. So there is the carbohydrate push, but it doesn't like throw you into this sugar rush and then crash 20 minutes later.
Yes.
And then you got to do another gel.
Right. Yep. Yeah. The reason I asked was just before we moved to Nashville for about 2, maybe 3 years in upstate New York, I got really into road biking.
Yeah.
And that was the most fun
Your brother
exercise.
Did that too.
Yeah. Actually, I think he wound up buying my bike. I think he still has it. But that was the most fun exercise that I've ever done. Just road biking. I've never done triathlons. That would be a real stretch for me. But 20, 30 miles on the bike, on a good day, maybe 40. And then we did a couple of, bike trips across the state of South Carolina, things like that. I just really enjoyed it. It's like high energy, kind of high intensity, but it's the type of thing where you can do for an hour, put on some headphones and the helmet. I just love that.
Go.
But the gels, they were really helpful.
Oh yeah.
And I think I had something a lot of times in the water.
Yeah.
Like a mix in the water. But
I add a lot of salt to the water.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Are you training for any triathlons right now?
So I've got one in June in Wisconsin that I don't think we're going to do. I think we're going to try to defer it to next year. Mm-hmm. First of all, I sink in the water. And if I don't keep up on it, like it just gets really bad.
Okay.
Like I have to swim 2 or 3 times a week.
Okay.
In order just to maintain not sinking.
Gotcha.
It's funny. The very first time I ever got in the pool, I swam 25 meters and got out. One length from one end to the other.
Oh, really?
I said, screw this, I'm done. Like huffing and puffing. And then I saw this like overweight dude, old guy in the locker room after. I was like, dude, how long have you been swimming, bro? He's like, 10 years. He goes, don't worry, you'll get it at some point. And then he looks at me dead in the eye. He goes, muscle don't float.
Yeah.
And I was like,
yeah.
I get it, bro.
No, it don't. And the other thing is learning to use your legs. I've never properly learned that, to be honest with you.
I don't use my legs a lot.
I don't either. And you're supposed to a lot more though, I think, right? I just get so tired when I try to use my legs. When I use my legs, tired.
My heart rate goes through the roof.
Oh, me too.
And then I like my breathing, I can't
100%.
I can't tone it down. So then it's like, then you get into this panic mode and then everything starts to go awry. And then I'm like, okay, so now I have to stop. It just kind of like wade in the water, take a couple breaths, figure it out, and then get back into it.
Okay, so you have the same issue and you're relying a lot more on your arms than some swimmers.
Oh, 100%.
Maybe more than you should be, but you got good size arms, so you're fine there.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Well, I think I'm going to focus on that too. Because I've gotten frustrated. Like, honestly, it's like I kick and I go a certain distance and I'm shot. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
But if I just swim like I would normally naturally swim, I mean, I can swim a decent distance. What are you doing right now? I mean, first of all, how tall and how heavy are you?
5'10".
Okay.
I'm probably 186-ish right now.
5'10", 186. What are you doing to get arms like that? I would like to have arms like that and a chest like that.
So the crazy thing is the only thing that I'm doing right now, well, I won't say the only thing, but primarily, I got a friend asked me, actually our best friend's mom said, hey, do you want to do 50,000 push-ups this year? And I was like, not really. But sure, I like a challenge. So it started, the day that we started, it was like we had to do 139 a day in order to make that goal. And then I missed like a month.
Oh, wow.
So now I got to do 160 a day.
Okay.
To keep the goal. So that's basically all I'm doing is 160 push-ups a day right now.
That's your workout right now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
I've been throwing in like, because there's no gyms open.
Right.
We don't have a bar. We don't have a lot of stuff at the house. So like the other day, I did like a running clock, burpees, push-ups, pull-ups.
You have something to do the pull-ups on?
Yeah, the deck, the thing that hangs over our deck.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So it's not like a pull-up bar. It's it's a 2x8.
Yep. Now, under normal circumstances, are you a member at a gym, or what are you doing to stay fit?
Yeah, we go to the Y. Like I'm a member at the Y. My wife does boxing down at Hot Box.
Oh yeah,
and the big reason is Y's got a pool. And they're open pretty late, so I get in there after work or before work.
Gotcha. Yes.
And then like the rest, you don't need a gym to run. You don't need a gym to bike because I got a bike. Got a trainer at the house. I love Natchez Trace. Riding on that.
Oh, you get out there.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
It's so beautiful.
And like the cool thing about it is bikes have the right of way.
Right.
So cars out there will sit behind you and wait.
Yes.
And just let you do your thing.
Yeah.
Which is very rare. Like I've tried to ride on Harding. I've tried to ride on
Harding. Yeah.
Hillsboro.
Yeah.
Franklin. And I feel like every time I'm about to die. Like I've got honked at and cussed out. Like I'm
100%.
I'm just like.
That's the thing with riding bikes on the road, dude. It's dangerous.
It is.
Like it or not, it's super
dangerous. If the road's
dangerous.
not closed, it's like unreal.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It really is. I mean, most things are dangerous, but biking on the road, man, particularly today with cell phones and everything, distracted driving. Yeah,
you'll
you
see
gotta.
them. Like they just start coming over and you're like,
yeah. We had in where I grew up in upstate New York, we had the state routes had pretty good sized shoulders. Like you had a yellow line and then probably a 3 or 4 foot shoulder, which down here you don't get that.
No.
But the one time, you're biking head down and I'm heading home. And there's a car that comes by me inside on my side of the white line. And I didn't see it. I didn't have a mirror on my bike. Maybe I should have, but next thing you know, there the car was on my side of the white line. It's scary.
It is.
Speaking of triathlons, did you see that Netflix documentary Iron Cowboy?
Yes.
50 triathlons in 50 states.
50 Ironmen in 50 states.
Yes.
Which is way different.
50 Ironmans, 50 states.
Yeah, I don't know how you say that either.
50 days. It's absurd. He started in Hawaii. I think the first day was in Hawaii, and then did he? You got to go. You got to go to Alaska, right? I think he went Hawaii, Alaska, and then the states.
Kind of like worked through the states.
Yeah, because he didn't want to get to the point where he had to jump in a plane to finish this thing. If your plane got delayed or who knows. So that was crazy.
My thing is like so many people gave him stuff about not actually doing 50 iron because he did some on the treadmill. He rode indoors, and I'm like, first of all, you go do the 50, then you can say something.
Yeah, the
dude did the distance.
That's right, and
I don't know if it'll ever be done again. I mean, I'm sure somebody will at some point, but like that to me was phenomenal. Yeah.
I mean, I cannot imagine. And yeah, he did a couple of those things, but first of all, it was only a couple of times. It wasn't much at all. And it was by pretty much necessity. I mean, I just can't.
He had the injury first and then he had to. So I'm like.
Yeah. I can't imagine.
No.
But you can see it, about, what was it about? Like, I felt like it was about like between 40 and 60% into this thing. He was just. There was no energy left. No. I mean, he couldn't sleep. Like, he was sleeping like 4 hours a night. He was continually falling behind.
Yeah.
And it was just like, you can just see it in the documentary. Like, this guy's body is telling him to stop. It's telling him there's nothing left. And he kept going. But then it was like the last 20 or 30%, actually, it was almost like he was gaining momentum as he finished this thing.
So it's kind of like for me, like in a workout, if you do like rounds, your workout's got like 10 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Round 1 through 3, you're hitting it hard.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, shoot, I got to slow down.
Yep.
I got to pace myself.
Yep.
And then like rounds 8, 9, and 10, you're like, I'm almost there.
Yeah.
I'm going to go hard again.
Yes.
So that's kind of like how I felt his whole thing went is first, and he got kind of punched in the mouth. Like, it was just like, oh, I didn't think it was going to be this hard.
Yes.
And then, but towards that end, you're just like, the finish line is right there.
Yes.
It's even doing a triathlon. Like that last 3 miles of the run, the last like 2 before that last mile suck. That last mile though, you get that extra push. You're like, oh, this is like, I am done. Thank you, Jesus. Yes. I finished this thing. So it plays along very well with how you do a workout, but his was basically just a 50-day long workout.
Yeah, absurd. What's the difference between an Ironman and a triathlon?
So I mean, they're essentially the same, but an Ironman is a distance. Mm-hmm. So Ironman's 140 miles total, and then a half Ironman's 70 miles, 70.3. And then you've got like sprints that they can change kind of from distance to distance, but it's usually a really short swim, like maybe 1,000 meters at the most. And then you'll have like maybe a 13-mile ride or maybe a little less, and then maybe a 5K at the end. So that would be like a sprint. Then you have an Olympic, which is kind of almost double that. And then there's some like intermediate stuff that people will kind of throw together. But then there's the half Ironman distance and then the Ironman distance.
And how long is a triathlon?
So a triathlon is basically all of those are triathlons. It's just different distances of those triathlons.
Yes. All right. And so what you have done before, what is that?
I started with a sprint, and then I did an Olympic, and then I did the half Ironman.
Okay.
I've done 2 halves, and the goal is to do a full this year, but we've already tried to defer that one to the next year. That'll be in Lake Placid.
Oh, Lake Placid, New York?
Yeah, I heard it's gorgeous.
Oh, it is beautiful. That's only a few hours from where we grew up.
I also heard it is the course that makes men and women who they are.
Really?
So I'm excited.
Yeah.
I love challenges.
Well, I think you'll have one. So you plan to do that one next year?
Yeah.
In Lake Placid. Yeah, they had the Olympics in Lake Placid, believe it or not. This is a little small, sleepy kind of town in like upstate, well, not even upstate. Yeah, upstate New York in the kind of the Adirondacks. Very, very pretty. What do you recall getting into? I saw your podcast episode on depression.
Yeah.
And I don't remember exactly when that one came out, but what were some of your thoughts? What are your thoughts on depression?
Oh man. So for first of all, I'm a chiropractor. So when we look at the body as a whole, because that's how we treat it. Like we're not a bunch of parts that are put together, and like if you mess with one thing, it messes with something else, right? So when you're looking at the body, the brain controls every single function of the body, right? And your brain controls your thoughts, it controls your mood, it controls the beat of your heart, it controls, me wiggling my pinky toe. Every function of the body is controlled by the brain. And if there's damage or pressure on your nervous system, it does not allow your body to communicate properly. So the body heals one way. It's from above down, inside out. There's never a potion, a lotion, a vaccine, an injection. There's nothing you can add to the body to help it heal other than good, healthy nutrition. But the thing is, like, when you look at the nervous system, I think one of the biggest reasons why we see so much depression in our society right now is devices. And when you look at a device and you look at a kid sitting in front of a device, their face is in their lap. And when you do that, you pull your brainstem through your foramen in your base of your skull. So you have a hole in the base of your skull. Your brain sits up here. Your brainstem sits right there. And then you have your spinal cord that's attached to it. So you put a skull into extension or flexion, either way.
Like with the head down.
Head down is going to be flexion.
Yeah.
And then when we look up, that's extension. So you have these kids and even adults nowadays that are sitting like this, right? So the spine will actually start to. I wish I had a spine here. So a normal
I had a spine here. That's not something you hear on every podcast. Oh, it's my spine.
So I'll kind of explain first of all, like what a normal position of a spine is. You should have a curve in your neck, and it should be 45 degrees, and it should go this way.
Yes. Yeah. It should be cupped
to the back. Like
now, when you say 45 degrees, like from the top of the curve to the bottom, you're saying?
Yeah. So if you look at C2, which is the second bone in the spine, and then C7. So C7 is down here. C2 is up here.
Yep.
You draw a line on the back of those two bones. They should create a 45-degree angle, and then there should be a nice smooth curve in between those two bones. So when the spine, it's called the arc of life. So when the spine's in that position, your nervous system's relaxed within there. But what we're seeing a lot of now, especially in these kids, is instead of having that C, it's either straight or it's going the opposite way.
You've seen some that go the opposite way?
And I mean, these 9-year-old kids. So that doesn't happen. There's a lot of ways that happens, but a big reason is because they're constantly looking down at these devices. So what happens when the neck is here, this is the skull. The skull will sit at an 18-degree angle to the rest of the spine. When the neck goes forward, you would be looking at the ground. So what happens, the skull, it's called your writing reflex, will automatically neurologically tell your skull to go straight. That clamps down on those nerves at the very base of the skull. So the information within the brain, it's like choking off the information from the above down, inside out. So we're stopping that communication process. So literally we have all of this information basically being recycled within the brain, and it overloads the body, and you're either going to get attention deficit, can't focus on anything because your brain's going freaking nuts in there. Or when that goes long enough, it turns into a depression of like, I don't know what's wrong. You get like this this overload. And it's just the opposite of that excitation of attention, like going crazy. I mean, every symptom is basically the same thing. It's your body telling you, hey, there's something not connecting properly. So what we do is we look at the spine and the nervous system and figure out how do we get specifically the neck back in the right position, put the skull back on the spine properly, and let the body heal the way God designed it to do in the first place.
Interesting.
So for me, that's the number one cause of depression. And then, I mean, there's all kinds of other toxicity.
Yeah.
First, medications. I mean, we're 5% of the world's population. We take 80% of the world's drugs. There's a problem there.
This is in America?
America.
We're 5% of the world's population, and we take 80%. We take 80% of the world's population's drugs?
Yeah.
In America?
The average American's on 13 drugs. I'm not taking any, so that means somebody's
dude, there's
taking
no way. Stop it. Wait, the average American?
Average American.
Is on 18 drugs?
13.
13 drugs?
Dude, you should see the people that come into our office, man.
Are you sure?
I'm like...
That's absurd.
I don't know how... Well, I mean, you think about it. Baby boomers, there's a lot of them.
There is, yeah.
And they are on massive amounts of medication.
Is that because you think in their day there wasn't so much attention put on holistic health and natural health and things, and it was just, the doctors are telling us to take medication, so that's what we did in the 1970s or 80s?
I think
it kind of stuck? Is that what it is?
No, because I think back then when they were growing up, they were living life like we should be living it. They're walking a lot more. They're moving around. They're eating. Their food was, 15 years ago, like 1 cup of spinach. We got to eat 50 cups of spinach now. It's somewhere around there to match the nutrient density.
Because the spinach is so much less
because our soil
potent?
is so depleted. Because we're planting the same thing over and over and over.
Right.
You're supposed to rotate crops. We don't do that. That's why you got to spray it with all this crap, which is toxic to the body, which is going to cause malfunction and disorder and dis-ease within the body. So long time ago, I think they were eating better. They were moving better. And then all of a sudden we started changing all of this stuff and their bodies had no idea what to do with it. So then you go to a doctor and they're like, well, you have this problem. Take this.
Right.
That's just how it turned.
Right. Yes.
Like back in the day, we didn't have all of these diseases we have now. Heart disease was nowhere near as high as it is. Cancer. When I was a kid, I never knew a kid in school that had cancer. Now every single school's got at least one kid that's got cancer. Like it's just
you're right. There's a kid in our neighborhood that has cancer.
And it's like, what changed?
Yep.
And you go back in history, it started with our food. I mean, you got...
Now we're getting started.
Oh man, I could go on this stuff all. Like I love. Like I'm not like a conspiracy theorist, but there's a lot of stuff out there that's like big pharma has their hand in a lot of stuff.
Oh, 100%.
And there's no money in healthy people. That's
right.
That's my biggest issue. Is like getting sick people well is not the medical society overall. It's not, and it's not doctors. It's the system itself is not designed to get people well.
Yes.
So if we can keep somebody sick from the age of, how old is he?
9.
If from the age of 9 and keep them alive as long as we can, we have a lifelong patient that we're constantly going to be making money off of.
Yeah.
And eventually, 1 medication turns to 2.
Yeah.
2 will turn to 3. And then you get this. That's why we're on so many drugs.
What are some of those most common? I mean, I'm shocked by the average American. Now, if you just said the average American that has had hospital time, or the average American that's, I don't know, has had some sort of a disease, you know what I mean? But the average American period is shocking to me. What are some of the most common drugs?
Most common would be blood pressure.
Oh.
Cholesterol.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those two are like a very good majority. If you're over, I mean, we've got kids that are not kids, but like teenagers that are on it. So I can't give you an age range anymore.
Wow.
And that's another thing. Like kids have adult onset diabetes. Like, how is this stuff happening? But the cool, like if we go back and just started living the way we were meant to in the beginning, moving our bodies, eating real food.
Yep.
For me, going to church or having some type of community, removing the toxins from our society, because everything right now is loaded. Like indoors are more toxic than outdoors.
Because of the EMFs and everything.
Well,
with the
yeah,
Wi-Fi and
EMFs, you've
everything,
got chemicals in all the carpets and in the paints and all this.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
literally, it's just a chemical box.
Yep.
And then for us as chiropractors, your nervous system controls everything. You put damage on that. Health is the body's ability to adapt to its environment. The lack of health would be an inability for your body to adapt to its environment.
Yeah.
Your body perceives your environment through your nervous system. That's how they tell if you're dead or not. They check your brain. I was just listening to a call. So we're a part of a big group of doctors across the country. It's called Max Living. And we have a call every Thursday. And I was listening to one from last week. And there was a dude, he was like, 3 seconds before you die and 3 seconds after you die, science has no description of what happens, what leaves your body.
Oh, that's fascinating. I never thought about that.
And in chiropractic, we talk about this thing called innate intelligence. Everything has an innate intelligence. Like you have a sperm and an egg, they come together, they start replicating. 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 16, 16 to 32. And that turns into 70 trillion cells. There has to be something that organizes that. And that's what we call innate intelligence. And that power never leaves your body until you take your last breath. And the way that innate intelligence communicates through the body is through the nervous system. Your brain is always telling your body what to do. And like in our society, we look at it as a symptom as a bad thing. A symptom's a really good thing.
Right.
It's telling you something is wrong.
Yes.
Fix it.
Yep.
Or you're going to die early.
Yep.
So why not look at the body and say, okay, so what are we missing here? You can't add stuff to the body to let it heal. A lot of times we got to take stuff out.
Yes. Well, don't you think that's what's so challenging in the 21st century is this idea of, okay, what are the symptoms and let's figure out what's going on and let's fix it. The challenge that we have today is that there's so much going wrong. But our food, our lifestyle, our all these toxins that are all around us. I mean, you just go on like the devices. It's so much now. It's hard to. It's not like the only thing that's where we've kind of gone wrong is the food, although that's a massive one. But it's more than that.
Oh, yeah.
That's where it's so hard to come up with these fixes, I think, unless someone's really willing to have a lifestyle change or really invest some time.
That's all it is.
And be different, you just have some changes.
It's a lifestyle change.
Yeah.
And for me, why do you want it? If your why's not big enough, never going to happen.
Yes.
Like I see my dad's health. And my dad was 42 years old, had a heart attack, got put on drugs. Those drugs, the side effects, neurological defects, muscular wasting, and bone degeneration. My father has all three. Oh. So imagine you're taking those drugs for 10 years, 15 years. It destroyed his body on the inside, which is irreversible. So we go on family vacation, and we have to alter our family vacation so that my dad he's got to have a pool because he can't walk on the beach. My family loves to go to the beach. But everything we do has to be able to sit, like, my dad hates this. It, like, breaks his heart. And it's always, do we think Gary can do that? Okay, all right, we'll add that in or whatever. I'm not going to do that to my kids or my grandkids.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to be chasing my grandkids on the freaking beach when I'm 80.
Yeah.
Like, not putting me on a porch in a pool while everybody else is doing their thing. Like
on your medications. Yeah.
So, and my dad's he's not on any meds anymore, which is awesome.
Yeah.
He's seeing a chiropractor in Ohio, Ryan Berlin, awesome chiropractor. If you live in the Cincinnati area, go.
Ryan Berlin?
Ryan Berlin.
Okay. Cincinnati.
Game changer.
Yeah.
So the thing, like the cool thing about my dad is all we do is teach him, okay, so how do we eat better?
Mm-hmm.
How do we move better? How do we remove the toxins? His mind, it's there, but it's like, what's your why?
Mm-hmm.
We always have to start with the why. And then he started getting adjusted. A few months later, no drugs.
Yeah. Well, that idea about the why, I think that's so critical because, there's that saying, something along the lines of, you don't change until the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change, or is greater than, whatever the other
pain of staying the same or so whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Like if you just feel like, all right, well, it's okay if I just stay the same, but until that pain of how you are feeling and what you are doing is greater than the pain of putting in some effort to change, you're just not going to change.
You're not.
And that's, I'm trying to.
There's another one. If your why is not big enough, you'll never figure out the how.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. What I was pulling up was, here it is. April the 7th, day 1, carnivore. Why am I doing this? Because, dinner the night before, 10, 15 minutes after dinner, started to feel yuck. Spine hurt from working out, sore, depressed, brain fog, blah, blah, blah. Like I literally that night, I actually remember this now. I had Ava and Arya in the car that night and I was about to go to the grocery store. I completely forgot about the virus, set aside, how bad is the virus, blah, blah, blah. I had my 5-year-old and 18-month-old in the car. I was going to take him along to go to the grocery store. I completely forgot. Like that was a state of mind I was in. I was actually Googling that night. Like, do I have an MS? Like I was tired of it, dude. I felt like my spine was eating itself.
Yeah.
I was sick. I did not feel good. I was depressed. It was not good. And finally I'm like that night I was like, come on, this sucks. This has to stop. And that's the day I started carnivore, and that was like 20 days ago. And guess what? I wake up and I don't feel sick. Mm-hmm. My spine does not feel like it's eating itself, and it's feeling better. But the point is, like, I got to the point where something had to change.
Got to draw a line in the sand.
Got to draw a line in the sand, and I don't expect to kind of use this as a crutch or keep doing this the rest of my life, but I know myself well enough to know my weakness is, I'll do this for a season, then I'll get tired of it, then I'll do something, start eating that normal American diet again, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Feel crappy again, and so what I like what you guys are doing, it sounds like you've kind of figured out what works for you and are just going to stick with it.
Yeah.
Which is key.
And for me, that's super easy. So like I see life black and white. Like it's either yes or a no, like you were talking. My wife is a little bit more, she's slower to make the change. Mm-hmm. Like you tell me you're going to eat carnivore for 6 weeks, done.
She'll do it, you're saying? Oh, okay, gotcha.
Easy.
Yes.
She'll be like, let's like slowly transition into the chiro or the carno thing. And then I'll try it for a couple.
Yeah.
No. I'm like, game on, let's do it.
Yes. Yeah.
So for me, that's super easy. For a majority of our patients, they're more like my wife. So it's figuring out that balance of like, okay, so how do we take you from the standard American diet and transition you into something even slightly better?
Yes.
And then once you're there, you kind of start seeing the benefits and you're like, well, what if I tweak this a little bit and tweak this a little, and it's, so for us, for most people, it's that like 1 degree of change.
Yeah, no, I could see that. I think, for me, I actually think I might be, I'm a little bit more similar to you in this respect, where for me, it's actually easier if it's just more extreme. In other words, for me, it's easier to eat carnivore than it is to eat keto or something. Yeah. You know what I mean? I would rather, instead of being like, all right, man, you should go, walk around the block twice every single day. This is weird, but it's actually going to be easier for me to join a CrossFit gym than it would be to go walk around the block, every day. Like something moderately, it's just easier if it's just do it. If we're going to do it, let's do it right. You know what I mean? We're going to do it right. Yeah. Or we're not going to do it all. But I know like that, not everyone's kind of wired that way.
How much are you eating a day? Do you know?
I don't know how many pounds of meat I am eating a day. It would be, well, I don't even know if it's more than a pound. Like the other night, for example, would be pretty typical. Like I haven't eaten today. So I wake up and have a glass of kombucha and an espresso in the morning. I was going to get away from actually having kombucha and a coffee in the morning and just go water. Mm-hmm. But I kind of like the, I feel like for whatever reason, the kombucha and the espresso, it's a nice way to wake up and it kind of gets me going. So today I had kombucha, an espresso when I wake up, and then just water. A lot of times I'll reward myself with another espresso on a podcast. And then like it's 4:00. I haven't eaten yet today. I mean, I'm not that hhungry. I'm really not that hungry. So I'll get home, 5 or 6, whatever time tonight. And I might be the equivalent of probably eating like a 16-ounce steak. How many ounces are in a pound?
16.
16? So, I mean, I'm probably eating
a pound.
I'm probably eating 1.5 pounds. Yeah. I'll bet. 1 pound to 1.5 pounds of meat. Does that sound about right? Per day?
I was like 2 to 2.5.
Wow.
I'd come home for lunch, eat 1 pound.
Oh, okay.
And then come home for dinner and eat 1 pound. I'd always have like 3 ready to go.
Okay.
I basically ate ground beef the whole time.
See, I was going to ask you what you were eating because I'm getting kind of tired of eating ground beef.
See, I can literally eat the same thing every single day and be totally content with that.
Okay.
For me, it's easier.
Yeah.
Like you're carnivore, easy. It's one thing and one thing only. But I would like throw in eggs every now and then. Yeah. We work with Tennessee Grass Farm, so we get a lot of their meats. And so grass-fed, grass-finished beef. Mm-hmm. So good, healthy fats in there, which help brain. When we're talking about depression, the oversaturation of bad fats is another big cause of depression because your brain's made up of fat. And then I'd throw in like pork.
Oh, okay. We'll have to come back to that. The oversaturation of bad fat can cause depression. Okay, so back to you were eating pork. I actually haven't eaten pork yet since.
So we'll get that from Tennessee Grass Fed. So it's like pasture raised. It's great pork. I don't eat a lot of pork, but when I do, it's from them. Mm-hmm. And then I'd eat like a steak maybe once a week, if that. And then I would throw in some fish every now and then, just maybe to mix it up, or like I forgot to pull out a pound or whatever, and fish will thaw out, like salmon will thaw out pretty quick. So. But that was a majority. I'd eat eggs every now and then.
Okay, yeah.
I did a little bit of cheese.
Yeah, me too.
Not a whole lot. But that was basically it was ground beef, like day in, day out.
Is there enough of fat in ground beef? I always picture there's more fat on like a ribeye than ground beef. But
so it depends on the ground beef. Like if you get that 80-20, no. Like you want, if you get like 90-10, no.
That's not enough.
No, you want the 80-20. Like I think Tennessee grass-fed, there's a lot of fat in there. Like you can see it in their ground beef.
Okay.
I don't know the percentage, but it's legit. And then I did bulletproof also. Okay. So I was getting fats from MCT. So that was the only, I guess, non-carnivore. I didn't do that for a while, and then I started adding that in towards the end.
But bulletproof is pretty close to carnivore. I mean, someone could make an argument for butter. I mean, bulletproof is butter and...
Bulletproof is coconut. Like MCT oil is derived mostly from coconut. Okay. So it's not technically carnivore.
Gotcha. Yeah, okay. So the way you're making your bulletproof coffee was MCT oil. Butter. Were you putting... And butter, right?
And butter.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like fat.
Well, fat, yeah. I mean, and that's what fat's good for you, right? I mean, your
fat
body
is really, really good for you.
Particularly, it's good brain food.
Yeah, I mean, your brain is basically all cholesterol for the most part. It's like 70% cholesterol. So, if you're not eating fat, you're starving your brain and your nervous system because your entire spinal cord, nervous system, it's all fat.
When you say the brain is 70% cholesterol,
I'm pretty sure don't quote me on the number.
But a lot of cholesterol. Is it a mixture of HDL and LDL? Or is it like a different kind of cholesterol altogether?
When we're talking, holy smokes. So when we're talking cholesterol, all cholesterol is good. Everyone's like, HDL is good, LDL, low, dirty. It's not. If you don't have LDL, you'll die. If you don't have HDL, you'll die. Your body needs both. So, we don't count anything when we eat. I don't count calories. I don't count fat. I don't count macros all we do is eat real food. We diversify our food so that we can get nutrients from everything. But the thing is like, because everyone's on this like no fat, low fat kick.
Right.
Those are some of the worst foods you can possibly eat especially for your brain.
Yeah.
But it's still like, we still have patients coming in and they're like, we'll talk about eating fat. And they're like, no, fat's bad. I'm like, no, bad fat is bad. Canola oil, horrible.
Yes.
Vegetable oil, atrocious.
Yeah.
And it's in all boxed foods. No, but like good, healthy, real fat will feed your body and you'll actually not be hungry. That's why, like, for you're eating a lot of good fat right now. So you don't have to eat a whole lot. For me, like 2.5 pounds of meat, I thought it was nothing. Like it's not, because I eat a lot.
Yep.
And for me to drop down to like literally 2.5 pounds, maybe 2 pounds of beef a day, I was like, I'm not eating anything, but I'm full all the time and I feel amazing.
Right.
It's because my body was getting, and I would eat like liver, a little bit of heart. I tried tongue. Yeah. It was disgusting.
I tried tongue one time as a kid. I just couldn't do it.
Like I like it if I go to a Mexican restaurant and I get a tongue taco, legit. When I try to make
you could get that.
I can't make it taste like whatever they make it
really?
taste like.
Well, my mom made, we raised beef cattle back in the day. Lincoln would appreciate this. And some of those beef cattle, man, we only had like 2 or 3 at a time. Like we had kind of like a McDonald farm or whatever, and little chickens and horses and beef cow and peacocks for a while, and just stuff like that. And we used to ride those little beef. We put horse saddles on them. We would ride the cows. But anyhow, we would always eat them. And so at some point, they'd visit the butcher shop, and that was the last we'd see him. And Mom made this beef tongue. Like, I kid you not, this thing was stretched out on a plate, probably about that long. Like, it was like, I don't know, 12, 18 inches long. And it was, a cow's tongue is rough.
Yeah.
Well, this tongue was rough, dude. Like, you would like cut off a piece and like you could feel it was like sandpaper. Like, it was like someone pulled the tongue out of the cow, heated it up a little bit and served it. It wasn't presented good enough. It was.
Well, I know you're supposed to cut the outer membrane off, so that sandpapery part.
Yeah.
But even still, I did that. I ground it. I did like a steak of it. I tried it a bunch of different ways and it just didn't work for me. I was like, I'm not.
Yeah. So, if someone's eating a bunch of crap food, that is going to have an effect on that could cause depression.
Yeah.
I mean, it just seems, do you ever, when you talk about these things, it can feel a little bit hopeless sometimes. Like we've gone so wrong in a lot of ways. It's everywhere.
It is everywhere. But for me, being healthy is very simple. Being sick is difficult for me.
Yeah, that sucks.
Like for me to get a symptom, I just don't know. Like, it's eating good, healthy meat, eating organic vegetables, working out, treating my body right is easy for me. And it's actually less expensive if you look at it. Because when you eat all that crap, it turns into sickness. 60% of bankruptcies in the nation is due to medical bills. Wow. So if you look at it, I'm saving a crap ton of money by taking care of myself now.
Oh yeah.
And it's very difficult for people to understand that. Like, am I going to spend, 30 cents more on a pepper? Yeah. Because I know 30 cents now, it's like an investment. It's going to save me thousands later.
Yep.
So for me, like, being healthy, it's a no-brainer.
When you, for yourself, or maybe even patients, some of your most fit patients, but even for yourself, are you getting sick ever? Are you getting sick a couple of times a year? Like, how often are you laid down on the couch with the cold or the flu or something like that?
This is funny. Because I don't call it getting sick. Like, I don't see it as a bad thing. We talked about that earlier. It's your body expressing a symptom, but your body's expressing health.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you don't have a fever, that's an issue. The fever is designed to heat your body up and kill what's attacking you.
Yes.
Why would I shut that process down?
Mm-hmm.
If I got diarrhea, why would I stop that? My body's expelling it as fast as it can. Same thing like vomiting. Like everything, like our society just looks at it backwards.
That's a good point. I'd actually kind of forgotten about that. It's been so long since my wife is super into this stuff. So yeah, if a kid's getting a fever, that's what
crank
she's
that
like.
thing
Let
up.
it go, unless it gets crazy, you know. So yeah. No, that's a good point actually. But now that you say this, there's a lot of people that, oh shoot, they got a little cough. Now they're taking this, or they're fever, so now they're bringing the fever down. They got a little diarrhea, it's tummy aches. So now it's Pepto-Bismol. It's just always something. Basically, they're just trying to like flatline the symptoms, but oof, that could be really like stuffing things in your body that are trying to get out. A lot of those
people are sick all the time because their body doesn't get to go through the process of figuring out what it is and creating antibodies or remembering, oh yeah, we've seen this before. We know how to take care of this. You're just shutting down your body's immune system so it never learns anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's like everybody's cleaning off everything right now with all these bleach and Clorox and stuff. You have to have germs for your body to get stronger. And we just, like our podcast we just recorded on Monday or Tuesday, it's the germ theory versus the terrain theory. So you've got two medical guys back in the day, Louis Pasteur and Antoine, I don't even know how to say his last name, but it's back in the 1800s, and they're battling about basically what causes people to get sick. And Louis Pasteur had Napoleon in his back pocket, so he won. And he basically said, germs make people sick. Bad germs make bad people sick. So let's sterilize everything.
Mm-hmm.
And now we got, especially nowadays, we have all these super bugs that nobody's immune to.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at the terrain theory, which Antoine was all about, is if I create a terrain within my body that can kill any germ that comes at me, because you're never going to kill all the germs.
Right.
Like the flu is never going to go away. Coronavirus is never going to go away. It's always going to be.
Yep.
So if I create a terrain that can handle that stuff, yeah, I might get a fever, which is a good thing. I might get a stuffy nose. I might get a cough. I might get whatever it is, but that's my body's doing the right thing at the right time in order to create long-term health.
Yeah.
And in our society, it's all instant gratification. I want to feel better now.
Yes.
Oh, I can't take 3 days off of work. Well, then you're going to get sick again later and again and again and again. Might as well knock it out in 3 days instead of postponing it day after day after day after day and just going through this cycle. Like, let your body do what it's designed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like our whole premise. It's your body knows what it's doing.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't changed since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
God didn't make a mistake.
Yeah.
God, like this coronavirus thing, God wasn't like, oh, shoot, I forgot about the coronavirus. Like, no.
Yeah.
You create a body, you give it what it needs, and it will fight off the coronavirus. It'll fight off cancer. Everybody has cancer. Every single human body, right? It's just our immune systems are beating it right now.
Yes.
And then you cause havoc by adding in poor food, lack of motion, lack of oxygen, sedentary lifestyle, medications, and the body's like, oh, this is a breeding ground. Let's grow every gnarly thing we can.
Yeah. Oof.
So like you look at it like, we talk about this a lot, like a dump. Everybody's trash goes there. What lives in dumps? Rats, gnarly bugs, and all the, I hate maggots.
I hate rats.
So the thing is like, if I kill all the rats and the maggots in the dump, a week later, 10 days later, a year, a month, whatever, they're going to come back. But if I clean up the dump, what never comes back?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a rat might show up looking for something, but it's not going to stay because there's nothing there for it to feed off of.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
So like our whole goal is to create a healthy, beautiful, pristine, like I always envision like rolling hills and like, you know, the sky, you see the antelope and the deer doing their thing. Like let me create that within my system so that if a rat does come, it has no reason to stay.
Man, that's a really interesting way to think about it. Extremely helpful. That's put better than I might have ever heard before, honestly. So if you are, for the general American population then, what would be some of the beginner steps you would be helping people through to develop that kind of terrain as opposed to maybe the cesspool that they're currently working with? If they're an average American, let's be honest.
Oh, yeah.
There's probably a lot going on there that's not good at all. There's probably a lot of that dump that's in that body. So what are some of the ones you look at first to clean this up a little bit?
The number one thing is teaching people what health actually is. Health has nothing to do with how you look or how you feel. The most dangerous way to determine your health is look in the mirror and say, man, I look good today. I feel good. I'm healthy. Because my dad, 42 years old, goes to work about 10 a.m., has a heart attack. How did he feel that day? Absolutely perfect. How did he feel the day before, years before? Perfect.
Was he overweight?
No, my dad was bigger than I am. He
never had a symptom?
Never had a symptom. He worked out all of the time. We didn't eat great, but we didn't eat horrible growing up. He was a pastor at a church. My dad never drank. He never smoked.
Oh, wow.
Like he would get a physical every single year and they would tell him, hey, Gary, your blood work looks great. Keep doing what you're doing. So how can somebody who's American healthy or world, whatever, however you want to look at it, is told that he's healthy? How does a healthy person have a heart attack? It's impossible. So there has to be a lack of health, a lack of ease or dis-ease within the body somewhere. So my dad, growing up, rode motorcycles up the sides of mountains, fell, broke his collarbone, shifted his spine a little bit, right at the base of his neck, and those are the nerves that go to your heart. Now, if I leave damage on the nerve that goes to your heart for 15, 20, 30 years, your heart is going to malfunction. Malfunction leads to improper flow, which leads to dis-ease, which dis-ease leads to early death. So we got my dad into a chiropractor who looked at his spine structurally and said, hey, this is where the damage is at. It's been there for 30, 40 years. Let's fix that instead of just trying to pump meds down your throat.
Is this after the heart attack?
After the heart attack.
Oh, okay.
This is when I was in chiropractic school. I tried to get my dad into a chiropractor for like 5 or 6 years.
Really?
And he wouldn't go.
Really?
And then I took him to Ryan Berlin's office and they were like, oh my gosh, this guy's amazing. I'm like, I've been telling you the same thing. And the thing is, like, Jesus went home, nobody wanted to listen to him, right? Mm-hmm. It's the same thing with us. Like, we tell our family and they don't want to listen. Yeah. But somebody else says it and they're like, this is amazing. So like, we have to tell our patients this all the time. Like, don't stop trying to get your family healthy. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're the only one doing the right thing right now, don't stop. Because you're setting up you're planting the seed for somebody else to be able to harvest. Mm-hmm. So like, never stop saying, hey, like, why don't you come to my chiropractor just for a minute? Because that's where we always start, is teaching them what health is. Mm-hmm. Second, what controls everything? The nervous system. You can eat all the kale in the world, and if your digestive system can't break it down, assimilate it, and turn it into what it needs to turn it into, because there's a misfire from the brain to the digestive system, you're literally throwing the kale in the toilet day after day. Mm-hmm. But if we get your nervous system functioning to the best of its ability, some people have degeneration or ligament damage, and those things hinder the process, but we get it as close to as normal as we possibly can, your body starts functioning better after that first adjustment. Take a little bit of pressure off the nervous system, boom, lights turn on. Mm-hmm. We always tell everybody power's on after they get adjusted. Because now the power from the brain is going through your nervous system out to every single cell, tissue, and organ, telling it exactly what to do and when to do it. It's cool. We got a friend, he's a chiropractor, and his son had a fever. And he was like, Dad, I need to get adjusted. I got a fever. And his dad was like, we don't adjust because you have symptoms. He goes, yeah, but I want to crank my fever up. Like, talk about like mind blowing. Like we didn't, like, nobody thought of it that way, but this kid was like, no, I want my power on. So I cranked this thing up so that I'm done faster. Then I'm back outside playing, doing my thing. So it's like, we just look at things way different than 90% of the medical system.
Yeah.
And even in our office, probably 90% of chiropractors. Most of them are neck pain, back pain.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what insurance pays for. Talk about insurance, the biggest scam in the world. They don't pay to get you well. Wellness visits, they never pay for them.
Well, that's a great point. Yeah.
But if you're in pain, they'll get you out of pain, but they won't keep you out of pain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you got heart disease? Yeah, we'll pay for it. You don't have any issues? Yeah, that's on you. Like, why wait until there's a fire to put the fire out?
Right. Yeah. You think that's because they just don't know how to regulate like things like wellness visits and like other things well, an extreme example would be like a gym membership.
Yeah.
I mean, there'd be a lot of cases probably where it'd be cheaper for insurance companies to pay for the gym membership. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But how are they gonna regulate that? How are you gonna know they go to the gym? You know what I mean? All of these things. You think that's why they just stay away from some of that wellness stuff and some of that, like some of the healthy stuff that would actually prohibit disease?
No, I think it's because of what we talked about before. There's no money.
It's all the drugs and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The more we can push drugs down people's throats, the more money we can make on the back end. Mm-hmm. Why not keep people sick?
Mm-hmm. So you have drug companies that might be influencing insurance companies.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, wow. Crap.
And then now drug companies are the ones who are basically teaching in the medical schools. Like medical doctors don't learn nutrition. They don't learn about like exercise. They don't learn that. They learn you have this symptom. These are the drugs we try.
Yes. Well, okay. So that is one thing I don't understand. And I have 3 data points for this. So no names, but have a friend, whose dad is a physician, an MD, and he and his wife had some health issues, and the dad's advice was very typical of traditional medicine, and this was not how these people wanted to live their lives, and so they went the more holistic route. And the dad is a physician, an MD, eating kind of whatever he wants to eat, like a very traditional type of American lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And the kids are grown and married, and they have kids of their own, but they're having to kind of figure out, like, they're not taking the dad's advice because they don't want to just take pills for everything. And it seems common, like it's also common for other people, not just doctors, but nurses. It seems common to me for people to be in the medical profession and not be into nutrition and health. Why is that? That's very strange. It's almost like they feel like there's a competition.
Yeah.
Like if you're on the doctor side or the healthcare side, then, don't be a nut job over here worried about what you're eating and exercise and all this holistic health. Like, don't be a crazy person. Just do your normal thing. Grab the Chick-fil-A, whatever. Grab the drive-through. And then there's medicine. And then over here, you're trying not to use the medicine, and it feels like there's a competition. I just don't understand where that competition comes from, because the people that are in healthcare, I thought the goal was to have people be healthy. Why aren't we interested in healthy
oath
stuff?
Is first do no harm. And I really think that I don't believe it's the doctor's fault. They're just not taught. So, you talk about vaccinations, like they are not taught about like what's in the vaccines or how it affects the body. It's just, this is the schedule.
Right. Yep.
So when it comes to medications, it's like, it's not, how can we avoid this? Like there's this symptom, how do we manage it? And then if it's unmanageable, then how do we go to this medicine? It's medicine first.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And then there's no plan to get the person off the drug. That's the number one question when somebody's on a medication, they come in my office. So what's the plan to get you off this? What do you mean? Like, how long are you supposed to be on this blood pressure medication for the rest of my life?
That's crazy.
What happens if I take you off that blood pressure medication? Well, my blood pressure goes back up. Why? I don't know. wouldn't that be something to figure out? Mm-hmm. And you can just see the light bulb go on like, I've never thought I could get off of this. Mm-hmm. And that's just the way we've been kind of trained in society is, no, you have to, like, whatever the doctor says is law.
Yeah.
And you've got to follow it to a T.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, certainly whoever's selling that blood pressure medicine, they do not have a vested interest in then coming off. That's just obvious.
No,
Even if I own that company, I'm just going to admit it, right? I mean, it's like, so the person making and selling that drug doesn't have a vested interest in them coming off it. The doctor, I mean, if you stop and think about it, I'm not sure who really does. The pharmacist doesn't. The patient does, but they don't know.
They don't.
So the pharmacist doesn't have a vested interest. They want to keep selling it. Mm-hmm. The drug company wants to keep making it. The actual doctor you go to, you know, that one, that should be maybe the weakest link, as in like he or she's the one looking out for your health and would try to get you off it if possible.
Yeah, but you have the drug company coming in.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You like, push this, I'm going to send you to Fiji for a week.
And that's not, that happens, just so people know that. Like that generally, that does happen.
There's a website you can look up, and it'll tell you like how much money the doctors received from pharmaceutical companies. I don't remember the name of the website. My wife does. I'll get you that information.
Well, that's how you get behavior that you want. I mean, that's how the in the 60s, 62, when the drug war started, the reason that it became so rampant was because the federal government was paying the local governments a certain amount for every drug arrest. And so now you wound up having local cops who are more interested in making an arrest on, I don't know. I mean, well, even back then, cannabis, which is hard to believe. Or maybe a better example would be they're more interested in, say, arresting someone who's using some powder cocaine than someone who is beating their wife half to death, you know, because they get paid for the guy who's on cocaine. It's crazy. So that type of thing is present in the medical industry too. So,
I mean, it's people, like, so we went to a business and did a health fair for them. And the lady in charge was asking everybody, have you got your flu shot yet? Have you got your flu shot yet? Have you got? And we were like, why is she working so hard? She works for the company that we're at, not the healthcare company. We're like, why is she so invested? And then we overheard her talking to the person who is doing the vaccine. And they were discussing how much she got, that person who worked for that business, per vaccine for the company. I'm like, wait a minute, wait, what? Like, how is this fair for the human being who has no idea, thinking like this flu shot's good for my health, but in reality, you're just trying to make money. Like,
oh, that's so awful.
For me, like when a lot of money is involved, a lot of corrupt things happen.
For sure.
So it's going to be very hard to pull down the system. But the cool thing is, there's a lot of doctors out there who are shifting gears.
Really?
And I love it. Like looking for something different, even like referring to us instead of saying, hey, let's just give this person some pain meds. Like, no, how about you try this first? Like, what's the harm in trying to do something before we go to the drug route?
You see that becoming more popular?
I do.
More common?
It's slow coming, but I really feel like that ball is getting rolling. And I think a lot of patients are sick and tired of it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're seeing a lot more of that. Like, why are you here? I want to get off of this drug.
Yeah.
Oh, how long have you been on it? 8 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's figure out how we do
I wonder if the internet and social media and communication today in general has helped. This is something I thought of before. I think it has to have helped because we think about, and what I mean help as in spreading information and people actually learning some of the grassroots stuff. Because if you think about heck, it was not that long ago. Call it pre-2005, say. The iPhone came out in 2007, right? So pre-2000, you know, in the 90s and 80s, how would this information get out? Well, you're having to pay for an advertisement in the newspaper to put your message out there. No one's doing that. But now you can have, you know, Facebook, Instagram, you can put this messages out. And I feel like people who kind of have a somewhat of an interest in learning now, it's pretty easy to learn.
You can.
Whereas 20 years ago, it was not this easy to learn these things.
Except nowadays, like, I mean, now there's censorship on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah, particularly around vaccines and even some of the COVID stuff I've been hearing too.
Oh, yeah.
What are your thoughts on medical use of cannabis?
So I think there's a lot to it. I know people who have used it. I know, so we did a podcast on CBD, and there's a lot of research behind CBD itself. But then the thing is, like, when you use CBD, there has to be THC in it, or else it's kind of like eating a carrot but pulling out the beta carotene. Like, you have to have all of it for your body to use it.
So I did not know that. I was aware that THC and CBD act much better together.
Yeah.
Now, are you saying though CBD without any THC is basically worthless, or
Yes.
really?
Even if it's a small amount of THC, it has to. That's why, I think it's 0.03% is kind of like the legal limit in most states.
Oh, okay.
So there has to be some in there in order for you to get the benefit of it.
I see.
Now, if you increase that a little bit, you're going to get better benefits because it's going to be more of a 1-to-1 ratio. So, but I think, there's a lot, there's research out there showing how cannabis is helping a lot of people, specifically cancer patients.
Yes.
So I'm all for it.
Yeah. Yep. Well, it's a plant, so I tend to be. I tend to be for it too because it's natural. With cancer, is it helping with alleviating pain, or is it actually fighting the cancer?
I think both.
Really?
So the thing in your body, you have these cannabinoid receptors. Have you read about that?
Yep.
Okay. So back in the day, a lot of our stuff was made out of hemp. So we were getting cannabinoids in everything, our clothing, paper. It was in our food.
The first fenders on Model T freaking made out of hemp. It's like a magic plant, bro.
It is.
It was made out of hemp. There's a video on the internet of someone hitting a Model T fender with a hammer, and showing it's made out of hemp. That was the whole point of the video. It's crazy.
So once the drug war started, they started pulling it's out of everything now, and now our bodies are starving for these cannabinoids. So for most people, there's only one way to get it, really. Just go smoke it. But nowadays, though, the cool thing is they're starting to come out with these CBDs that are really potent. They're full spectrum. They've got every piece of the puzzle that you need in order for it to be beneficial to the body. So
when you say that thing about CBD needs THC for it to be worth anything, essentially, or for there to be some medical benefits there, in Tennessee, CBD is legal. I'm seeing the stores pop up anywhere. I have to assume it's totally legal. It is. Have a CBD joint over there. We smoked one the other day. I can't feel anything, quite honestly, but so it's legal. So you're saying you're not saying all these CBD stores that are popping up are worthless. You're just saying there's actually a little bit of THC in there. It's been beneath the legal limit. The legal limit is next to nothing, 0.03% or whatever it is.
Sure something like that.
Very, very low. So would you say there is some value in some of these CBD stores that are open, say like in Tennessee, where regular cannabis with THC is not legal, but the CBD store is?
I think there is, but I've gone into a couple shops and just anything that we put in or on our body, I don't care what the label looks like. I don't care what the front says. It could say all organic, natural, whatever. I turn it around, I look what's in it. And if you look at the ingredients in a lot of these CBD shops, there's a bunch of garbage in there. It's just fillers.
Really?
So it's the same thing. A lot of supplements are the same way, right? So what you pay for is what you get. We carry CBD in our office. It's
oil?
not
Oil or okay.
Oil. It's not super expensive, but it's probably costs more than the guy down the street. But I know it's what's in it. There's CBD and then there's coconut oil. Basically, that's it. So there's probably some good shops out there.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them.
Interesting. If cannabis was legal in Tennessee, would you sell it at your store too? You think that would be a better medical benefit than the CBD, the stuff?
I don't know. I just think there's a fine line. Because I smoked weed when I was a kid. And I just know like for me, weed was definitely a gateway drug.
Oh, really?
So like morally and ethically, it would be hard for me to do that. Because I know there's no addictive parts of CBD itself. I'm okay with that. But like, I think there's a fine line when it comes to that. And I would rather let somebody who specifically like that's their thing.
Sure.
Let them do that because they know a lot better.
Yeah. So you would consider cannabis or marijuana a gateway drug?
I know it was for me.
Okay.
I mean, it took me down a path of self-destruction.
Did it take you down the path, or were you going down the path anyway, and cannabis just happened to be the first stop?
It might have been the first stop, but
okay. I guess that's where it's hard to, because I mean I've heard I've heard arguments both ways, and I'm certainly not the expert, so you know what I mean. Like you could also say that the gateway drug into cannabis is alcohol, and the gateway drug into alcohol is coffee. So it's like, well, we should all stop drinking coffee. But if there's actually a correlation or a prompting of the next thing, then people should really be careful then. You were in the military. It seems to me that cannabis is very popular with people that have been in the military. Maybe because it helps with PTSD.
Yeah.
Maybe because it helps with pain relief. Maybe because it can help with depression. Do you think those are the reasons it's popular in militaries, or something else?
I think that's a big part of it. But also there's that point of self-medicating. Like it's not getting to the root cause of the problem. And that's, for me, even like, so we talk about nutrition in our office a lot. And people will be like, well, I have this problem. What should I eat? It's like, that's like the allopathic method. You're treating some digestive issue with a food. That's not what we do. My whole goal is to get your body functioning, let your body do what it's supposed to do. So when we're talking about like cannabis, if you're using it to self-medicate, not great. But if you're using it to reintroduce cannabinoids back into your system, I know there's a very fine line between the difference there, but like if we're using it to help get to the root cause and then figure out, okay, so how do we get your body, creating some, because your body does create cannabinoids, but how can we get your body creating all of these things naturally and then get you maybe off the weed? Awesome. But there's a very fine line of treating something with cannabis or using it to basically jumpstart your body back into healing.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. Yeah, that's a great point. Are you comfortable sharing any more about the cannabis as a gateway drug and what else you got into, or kind of what that season of life? It sounds like you went through a difficult season.
Yeah, I did. So, I mean, way back in the day, so my dad worked super hard to provide for us, which meant he wasn't home a whole lot. He was at work. Literally grinding for us, just to put food on the table and clothes on our back. We weren't well off in any way, shape, or form.
You siblings?
Yeah, brother and a sister.
There were three of you?
There was three of us.
And where'd you grow up again?
Michigan.
Michigan, okay.
So my dad worked for Ford Motor Company. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
in a factory or office job, or in the factory? Okay.
So literally grinding it out every single day. And so like going through that, he wasn't really there. So I played basketball growing up, and my basketball coach basically became like my second dad. And there was a point where he turned on me. I was already kind of headed down a path of self-destruction, like just, started drinking, started smoking. I was good. I was very good. And I thought I was untouchable and I could do whatever I wanted. And finally one day he just turned to me at the end of the bench. He's like, "You're just a effing punk." And it broke me. Dude, it like tore me to shreds. So I just started like doing anything and everything to prove him right. So I was smoking weed all the time, drinking I'd go to high school, we had a slushy machine, and I'd fill it with vodka and slushy and drink all day during school. Like, it just was
just buzzed all the time.
not good, right? So, and then you fast forward, I'm like, my life's a mess. Basketball's not going to take me anywhere anymore because I got kicked off the team. What am I going to do? So I joined the military. I'm like, they should straighten me out. So I joined the Marine Corps, and they did. They straightened me out for a while. And
How old were you at this time?
19 when I joined.
Okay.
So I went in 2001.
Okay.
You go to boot camp, and then you go to your MOS, your job training. So the day I graduated from my MOS school was 9/11.
Whoa.
So we were getting our diplomas, and the planes hit. And
what's MOS school?
Military Occupational Specialty.
Okay.
So I was a generator mechanic. That was my job in the military.
Oh, okay.
So we're all like, well, game on now. Like, wherever this came from, it's going to go down. I didn't get deployed until 2004. Was my first deployment. Drank heavily there. And
drugs or just drinking?
No, just drank there. And then was in Africa. We drank a lot there too. And then I got hurt. We were 2 days before we were supposed to come home. I was playing basketball. Went up for a jump shot, came down, and my back was like, I just fell to the ground. Like, I couldn't move my legs. I was like, oh, shoot. Like, I just did something. So a bunch of my buddies, they helped carry me to the sideline, and then they helped carry me to the tent. And
no pre-existing,
I had back pain every now and then.
Okay.
When
but
I was
you didn't
younger.
have an injury?
No.
Wow, that's really weird.
Like, just never had really any pain during my military career. So went back to my tent, and it was 2 days before we were going home. So everybody's getting rid of all their stuff. And, when you're over there, everybody gets hurt usually at some point in time. So everybody's got meds. So I'm like collecting handfuls of drugs, and just half handful one day and half handful the next day. Got on the plane, came home, and then went to the doctor, and it was like, well, try this ibuprofen. That didn't work. Muscle relaxers. That didn't work. Here's Vicodin. I'm like, and then I started liking Vicodin.
Is someone at this point telling you should go get adjusted?
No.
Hold on a second. You had an injury. You had a back injury at a basketball game.
Back injury.
And people are giving you drugs?
So
or like painkillers and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, but surely someone was like, and by the way, you should go get that adjusted, right? I mean,
no,
isn't that common knowledge?
Military. No, there was like, no, it was just, here, just take this. And then finally, so I started heavily drinking. Like, I would wake up in the morning, take a couple of Vicodin and take a shot of vodka. And that's how I would go to work. And then I'd take more while I'm there and take more while I'm home. Like, it's just, it got really bad. And it was like, something has to change. So I went back and I told him, I said, look, this is what I'm doing. We got to do something different or else I'm going to be dead.
You told the medical
staff.
people in the military?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're like, well, MRIs, negative, x-rays, negative. Like, we have no idea what's going on. So let's do an exploratory surgery. And that's when I was like, pump your brakes. First of all, it's not that bad. Like, I'll get over this. You know what I mean? Like, immediately, like, sober up, like, no, we're good. And then, like, my dad took me to a chiro when I was a kid, when I played basketball, because I had a couple of injuries back then. And dude was crazy. He was like this 70-year-old white dude, was like the most energy I've ever seen in my entire life. And just great. Like, he was great with kids. He was great with families and stuff. And that was my first, like, introduction to chiropractic. So I always thought it was cool. So my dad took me to a chiro when I was a kid. I was like, well, let me is there any way I can try this chiropractic thing out? I'm like, why not? Let me just see. And at that point in time, the only base in the U.S. that had a chiropractor on it was the base I was at.
Where were you?
Oceana. Well, I was in Virginia Beach, and Oceana was like the naval base there.
And at this point, you're in your low 20s?
How old was I? Yeah.
Like you'd been in the military. At this point, are you done with the military?
So I'm like almost, it's either re-sign, stay in, or get out. And I'm like, for me, I'm like, well, I got this injury. I'm going to let it happened in the military's time. They're going to pay for it. And then they're like, well, let's cut you open. I'm out of here.
I see.
So I went to this guy. It was this, I explained it. I'm not trying to be like racist or anything. So this tall, skinny Asian dude, he's got these glasses on, like real nerdy guy. So I take him the x-rays that they took at the hospital. And he looks at them on his light box, and he's like, lay down on the table. And I go, well, like, what's... In my head, I'm like, well, what's the issue? He kind of looks at me like, I got this. So I lay down, he adjusts me, and it was painful. Get back in my car. He's like, I'll see you in 2 days. I was like, oh, whatever. I get in my car, and I'm like, I couldn't sit. Like, I had to drive. I'm like, I'm not going back to this dude. Like, he just made it worse, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And on the way home, I'm like, popping pills again. And I'm like, if I don't go back to this guy, I go back to the hospital, they cut me open.
Mm-hmm.
I got to give him a shot. So I go back, same thing, takes my x-ray, puts it on the light box, go ahead and lay it on the table. Second, do that adjustment changed my life. It was like night and day. I hopped up off that table. And I played flag football for our base. And I'm like, I called the dudes. And I got in the car. I'm like, I'm on my way.
You went and played flag football after the second adjustment? That probably wasn't the best idea.
Well, I was like, dude, I'm
But
healed.
you felt better?
I felt
like almost immediately?
Immediately.
Huh.
So I was like, dude, there is something to this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like my first introduction was great. This guy, even though he's weird and like creeped me out a little bit, he knows his stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like he used the exact same diagnostic material that the hospital used, and they found nothing. And this guy looked at it for like 30 seconds, laid it on the table. So I just started looking into this thing called chiropractic, and I was like, and for me, it was neck pain, back pain.
That's how you thought of chiropractic care at that point.
That's what it was.
Well, what was wrong with you?
What do you mean?
Like what he adjusted, was there just something out of place, or what was?
T12 and L1, which is like kind of where your mid back and your low back meet. I've got degeneration and years of just constant pounding on the spine, and so you misalign a joint and then you pound on it, it's going to degenerate.
Yeah.
So all he did is realign the joint and allow the nervous system to be able to function and fire properly. And I'm like,
that was the difference between you being in pain, on pills, alcohol, the whole thing, just to sort of contain this and make it through, and not. Was that it? Golly.
But the problem
that's a very, oh man, I mean, that strikes me as a very unique story, but you might see this all the time.
It happens all the time. Some people, it's not 2 adjustments. Sometimes it's like the 6th. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's the 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Like somebody will come in with a migraine headache, like pounding. Check their atlas, the very top bone of the spine below the skull. Check their thoracic spine, their pelvis. Like the body's one big organism. Everything's connected. So if you've got a problem in one spot, it's going to cause something else to adapt.
Yeah.
So we find the primary subluxation, adjust that, and then we work through the rest of the spine and try to figure out, okay, so how do we adjust to get it back to where it should be? So for some people, yeah, it's one adjustment. They're like, the problem is those are the worst patients, because then it goes away and we don't see them till it comes back.
Oh yeah, that's totally how I. That's exactly how
I did it when I first. So 2 adjustments, out of pain. You know, I helped a guy move a desk. It came back when it got adjusted. bent over to pick up a piece of paper. It's like 9/11. I know exactly where I was and what I was doing when it came back as strong as it would come back.
Mm-hmm.
So I bent over to pick up a piece of paper, came back, went and got adjusted. But the chiropractor, never taught me, hey, let's fix this thing instead of just using a chiropractic adjustment like you would an ibuprofen. You're in pain? Take an adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
No. Let's fix the positioning of the body, maintain it in that position so that this thing never comes back. And that's what it's.
Is that possible?
That's what we do.
Really?
Day in and day out. So and that's where I was talking earlier. There's a lot of chiropractors who just do neck pain and back pain.
Yeah.
First of all, that's what insurance will pay for.
Yeah. What does it even? Does some
no, it does.
Yeah, it does.
Some insurances will cover that,
yes.
but they only cover, for a lot of people, it's 12 visits a year. So somebody will go to the chiropractor once a month. If you go to the gym one time a month,
yeah,
you're going to get yoked? No.
Yeah.
You eat, organic once a month. Are you going to get healthy that way? No. You can't do anything once a month and expect there to be a massive change.
Right.
So for us, it's like, no, let's get on this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's jump on it as fast and as hard as we can that your body will actually accept.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a point where your body will just reject, like not necessarily reject, but it'll stop progressing.
If it's gotten bad enough, or
if we start correcting somebody's, so if it's bad enough, it's going to start degenerating and getting really bad.
Yeah.
And then we start correcting it, we're going to hit a plateau at some point.
Oh, okay.
And then the thing is, the goal is maintain it there.
Oh, okay.
For a period of time. And then we basically go back into a set of like, all right, it's go time again. Let's start correcting it. So that means frequency goes up, exercises get a lot more, your regimen's like a lot tighter. And then we correct the spine a lot more. And then we maintain that. And for us, this is chiropractic is a lifetime thing. I just had a kid come in. He's a kid. I call him a kid. He was probably 20 years old. First time in the chiropractor's office, he was like, I heard if you go to a chiropractor, you have to go for the rest of your life. I said, hey, look, you don't have to.
Yep.
But how long do you want to maintain a proper position of your spine, having no interference on your nervous system, allowing your body to heal? For me, that's my life. I'm going to do it for forever. Do you have to? No. Do I suggest it? Highly. So that's where we go through these cycles of correction. And it's crazy, man. Like a girl that works in our office, she's been in our office for 3 years. I think 3 years. She's got a pretty gnarly spine. She was a twin, so she was kind of like tucked in the womb with somebody else. So she's cramped in there. The body's growing. So her neck, instead of that nice C-shaped curve, she's got an S.
Oh, wow.
So over it's taken 3 years of going through this cycle of correction, maintenance. And it's now she almost has a C. But you think she didn't start in our office till she was 22 years old, something like 23. There's 23 years worth of damage.
Right.
Somebody comes into our office, they were born C-section, or the doctor, assisted the birth and pulled on the skull and torqued the neck. And you've got all these years of damage, and people are like, how long is this going to take? Like a couple weeks?
Right.
No, this takes time and dedication, just like anything that is worth having. And again, this is an investment. It's not just a monetary investment, it's a time investment. But on the other side of this, you get to play freaking flag football.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that was for me. So it was like,
So you go correction, maintenance, because you can't just correct the whole thing. Because even if you could turn her S into a C in one visit, I mean, first of all, you probably can't. But second of all, even if that happened, it would just snap back. So you have to get it a little better, maintain, get it a little better, maintain. Is that kind of the philosophy?
So that's it. Yeah. So in our office, we do a process of so before you get adjusted, you warm up. It's like going to the gym. Like we're physically doing things to your body. I don't want you coming out of your car, laying down on the table, all stiff, and then me trying to adjust a bone.
Huh.
No.
What kind of warm-ups?
You walk in, We have a hanging traction unit on the wall. So that what that does, it opens up the disc spaces. It pumps. It's called imbibition.
Okay.
So your discs pump up and down, and that pushes toxins out of your discs, and it sucks in good, healthy CSF. And then from there, you go to a cushion. It's just like a blow-up cushion, sits on a chair, and you wobble. And we do 3 directions. We go side to side, front to back, and then we do rotation. And those are the normal position or movements of the spine. Mm-hmm. So we're literally just taking your body through full range of motion, lubricating all the joints, but also like letting muscles relax.
You do this for every patient before you adjust them? Every time?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I've not experienced that anywhere
yet.
So
then you get adjusted, and then immediately after your adjustment, we put weights on your spine. So like a head weight, which will sit on the front or the side of it just depends on what your spine looks like. So we'll put weights on your spine so that your body, it's kind of like going to the gym for your spine. So your body learns, this is where my muscles should be strong. Mm-hmm. And like every time you take a step with those weights on, or every time that we have vibration platforms. So every time that thing vibrates, it's like doing a bicep curl for your spine, and your spine's learning. So it's warming it up, physically moving it, and then re-educating the muscles around it to say, no, this is where we're supposed to stay. Because if you don't do that process, if you walk in, you get adjusted, you walk out the door, 24 to 36 hours, your spine is exactly where it was when you first walked in the door.
Really?
So I'm just stealing people's money if I just adjust you and let you go on your way.
Interesting. Yeah.
I'd rather not. I don't want to say I'd rather not see you, but I'd rather not see you.
Sure. And the reason is because spine gets out of whack, you come in and get it adjusted. But in the meantime, the muscles have developed they've been pulling on it, right? Because they're trying to adapt for this thing not being where it's supposed to be. So you snap it back in place, but the muscles don't know that you just did that. No. They're going to keep doing their job. They're going to keep pulling on it as they have been. Next thing you know, it pulls it right back out of place. Is that basically what happens?
Yep.
Okay.
So we have to re-educate those muscles. So we have to lengthen some and we have to shorten other ones, right? So and then from that, you go home, you've got exercises that are going to specifically help your spine remember. So that way, the next time you walk in the door, we're not starting over at square one. We're starting, we'll say 2% better.
Yep.
And it's just those small incremental changes.
Yep.
Over and over and over that we can physically take a reverse curve in a kid's neck and put a curve in there.
Yeah.
And then he gets off of ADHD medications. He gets off of his asthma medications, his allergy meds, and he gets A's in school now instead of D's and F's. Like,
does this happen?
Yeah.
Really?
Specific kid. He's 9 years old when he walked in the door. Had a reverse curve in his neck, put a curve back in his neck, and his mom was like, I have a new kid.
Holy cow. Because the curve was inhibiting his brain talking to his body. That's like the whole thing wasn't functioning properly.
It's that simple. I think we overcomplicate health in our, first of all, we'll never understand the entire body.
Right.
I don't think we're meant to. But it's super simple. You give the body what it needs: nutrition, oxygen, nerve supply. You remove what it doesn't need, toxins, and the body does what it's supposed to do.
Interesting. What, I'm sure you probably heard at least at some point someone like not believing in chiropractic care or thinking it's a hoax or whatever. I mean, is that still a thing?
Yeah.
I don't know how prevalent that is.
We still get called quacks.
Do you really?
Every now and then, yeah.
Really? Now
it's usually older people.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. But I guess without going into too much of that, the part that I guess I don't understand is skeletal structure. I mean, you look at a car. We take a car in something. If your axle, the way it connects to the, to the rear gearbox, gets a little out of whack, that car is not going to drive right. It's basic. Everyone agrees with me at this point. I don't fully understand why the same isn't true for a skeletal structure. Like, I guess I just don't understand the question really is, do you believe a back can get out of place or not, your spine, or any of your skeletal structure, can it get out of place? So I think everyone would probably have to agree that does happen. 2, do you think it's better if you put it back into place? And I guess that's as simple as that for me. Like,
it really is. Like, you have a better chance. I'm not going to say you're never going to get some type of sickness, but your body has a better fighting chance with your nervous system uninhibited.
It has to. I mean, just logically. So what are those people that think the chiropractic care is a quack? Like, what are they?
So
what are they?
the way we all, like, if somebody says that, the question I always ask is, okay, so what controls everything in your body? And then everyone's like, your brain, duh. Like, you're the doctor. Okay. So if your brain controls everything in your body, how does your brain communicate to your body? And they're like, well, it's through your nerves. I'm like, yeah. So it's your brain stem. It goes your brain stem, spinal cord, nerve roots, and then nerves, and then organ. And then the next question is, so what surrounds and protects your nervous system? Well, my spine. So if your spine, is there a normal and an abnormal position to the spine? Some people are like, I don't know. And then it's like, okay, so let's say your spine should be straight from the front. Do you think that's fair to say? And they're always like, well, yeah. But a lot of people think it should be straight from the side too, but it definitely, we have to have curves. So I always go to the front. And then I'm always like, so have you heard of scoliosis? And I mean, all the world has heard of scoliosis. And I'm like, okay, so if there's a big S in somebody's spine, do you think that person, is that good or bad for that body? Well, it's bad. Okay, so let's say it's a 100-degree curve out of normal. It's bad. What about 50 degrees? Is that bad? Yeah. What about 10? Well, yeah. What about 1? Well, yeah. So if my body's working at 99%, we'll say, am I building health or am I building disease? I'm building 1% disease. 1 never stays at 1. It only multiplies. And then they're like,
yeah.
Oh.
Then it clicks. Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah. Yep. Do you get adjusted routinely yourself personally?
Absolutely.
Does your wife do that? Or who?
My wife does.
Really?
So I just got done getting adjusted 3 times a week.
Oh, yeah?
Normally, we get adjusted 1 time a week, no matter what.
Okay.
And then, so for the last almost 3 weeks, I got adjusted 3 times a week.
Okay.
Just to go through one of those corrective phases again.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm back on it once a week, and I'm just going to maintain that for a while.
Okay.
And then once I start training, though, again, like hard, I get adjusted at least twice a week and usually 3 times a week during that time.
Yeah, that's what stood out to me with that Iron Cowboy. That guy had a chiropractor riding with him on his entire trip. I don't know if you picked up on that.
I mean,
he mentioned
if you think about like your car analogy, if your tires are misaligned, you're going to wear those tires out.
Yes.
I mean, if his hips are misaligned, 50...
Oh, that's a great point.
50 marathons on
every
a misaligned
day.
pelvis.
Oh, oh, gosh darn.
So...
Holy cow. That's very critical that stays in place.
Yeah.
I didn't think of it like that.
That's why every sports team, they all have chiropractors.
Do they now?
Every.
Really?
Yeah.
So this thought that, is there really something to chiropractic care? Then it has to be dissipating quickly then, right?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I think the general public is more open to it now because they're looking for something different than just a drug, I believe. Medical community, I think it's changing, but I still think there's it's kind of like it's either us or them kind of a thing. But I'd rather work with a medical doctor and say, hey, so this guy's on high blood pressure meds.
Yeah.
Let's work together to get him off.
Yeah.
And if the doctor's like, no, why not?
Right. Yes. What did people do hundreds of years ago? Or even thousands of years ago, if we know, like, was there always people that knew how to adjust the spine?
So, like, if you go back to like hieroglyphics, you'll see people. I mean, Hippocrates said it: "Look to the spine for the cause of all disease."
Dang.
He also said, "Food is our medicine." So it's like, so the dude was way ahead of his time.
And so they probably weren't just saying it and not doing anything about it, right? Like, wouldn't it stand to reason if Hippocrates said it, someone was doing something with someone's spine, right?
Like, a long time ago, it was really medieval, obviously. Like they would hang people from like trellises and like Batman, where the dude hangs him and then like punches his spine back into place.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of how they did it back then.
Wow.
And then you'll see like tools, like people using like almost like a hammer and chisel to like reposition the spine. So like obviously things have changed. And like, just like, I mean, medicine bloodletting was the thing back then. And it's evolved. The same thing, chiropractic has evolved. Yeah. And I mean, what we can do now with the spine takes months, which used to take years.
Oh, I see.
Just with the advancements.
Better techniques, better tools, these types of things. Interesting. When you have a patient that comes in and is, back's out of whack just a little bit, but there's nothing major going on. A couple adjustments, then at some point when it stabilizes, would you want to see them once a week? Like, is it rare to see someone 3 times a week? You're really trying to get someone with them? Like for the average person, you recommend once a week, and that's good? Or?
So the bare minimum, I think, for most people is every other week. Because most people are doing, once we get them to a spot where they're maintaining, right? But most people are sitting at a computer or sitting in their car. Like most people are doing what put their spine in that bad position in the first place every day.
Yep.
So just to stop or even go like once a month, we're not going to gain any ground. We're going to lose it. We may lose it slower than we would, but we're still going to lose ground.
Yep.
One time a week, you can still get small incremental correction.
Okay.
Because you're still combating what they're doing on a daily basis, especially if somebody's doing like their home exercises. Like some people do them religiously. They're like, and they get easier and easier. They get less and less, as you go through care. But some people are like on it. Those people, they get better correction, and we can adjust them once or every other week, and they still get better. But then you've got other people who don't want to do anything. They just want to come in and get adjusted. And then we show their we always do re-x-rays. Every 6 months, you get one re-x-ray, area of the spine we're most concerned about.
Oh, okay.
So it's black and white or gray on a screen.
Yep.
You're either better or you're worse. And then people are like, well, why am I the same or why am I worse? Are you doing anything at home? No. Are you making all of your adjustments? No.
Yeah.
It's not that chiropractic didn't work.
Sure.
You didn't work chiropractic.
Yep. That's a good point. Just to put a loop on I don't want to keep you here all night, but can you so I had you at military injury, got fixed. I'm assuming that's what got you into chiropractic care. Before that point, were you interested in chiropractic care? Did you always know after the military I was going to become a chiropractor?
No, I was actually looking at PT. So I've had 3 knee surgeries. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Tore my ACL playing flag football and my meniscus. And then I've re-torn my meniscus. It's torn right now, but multiple times. And I didn't know any different. So it was just, okay, let's do the surgery. Boom, 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 boom. All 3 of them failed. But at the time, I was good. So I was like, I like this PT thing. Like all my PTs have always been cool. Like I could probably hang out with them, outside of, them taking care of me. So I was like, I'll look into this PT thing. And right when I was doing that, PT turned into a doctorate. And I was like, okay. And it was going to take me 6 years to become a PT. And then I did the math, and I could become a chiropractor in 5.5. So I went to school year-round for 5.5 years. I got my doctorate and my bachelor's at the same time. So I went to school from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. for 3 years, basically, 2.5. But I was like, I know what I want to do. I want to help people without drugs and surgery. I know these are probably the only 2 options that I could take.
PT and chiropractic?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can do this one in a half a year less.
Okay.
Done.
It's not that much less when you're thinking in terms of 6 years.
But it was like, I just knew I wanted to get done and get helping people. So the other problem is I didn't realize you don't learn how to run a business. So like if you were just to go out into practice, it can be done. It's not going to be easy. So that's why we decided to join Max Living.
Oh, okay.
And then they just they helped us, man. They were like, this is how you do this, and this. This is how you open an office. This is how you maintain an office.
Oh, is it almost like a franchise of sorts?
It is.
Okay,
but
I see.
Not really, because you own everything.
Sure. Okay.
You're
but they're helping you with the business side of it. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't realize there was a thing like that.
Oh yeah, dude, it's amazing, man.
Max Living.
I can call anybody in the network any time of the day and be like, hey man, I got this issue. Like, what's up? It could be business. It could be personal. It could be financial. It could be whatever.
Yeah.
You're just like, hey man, this is what's going on.
When did Cassie decide that she wanted to be a chiropractor as well?
So she decided way before me. I always say it was me before her, but she decided before I did. So she said she had a thyroid issue. They diagnosed her with Graves' disease. They wanted to give her radioactive iodine and burn on her thyroid. Her friend said, hey, you need to come check out my brother's doctor's report. So it's basically where he describes what chiropractic is. She went, and it changed her life. Once she understood that chiropractic isn't neck pain and back pain, but it's about allowing your brain to communicate to your body through the nervous system. The only way to do that is to get your spine in the proper position. She had a negative 10-degree curve in her neck, put a curve back in her neck, and her thyroid's functioning properly, and she lost 40 pounds.
Was this after your injury or before?
This was kind of during that process.
Oh, yeah? About the same time? Interesting. So she fixed her thyroid through chiropractic care?
So she didn't fix it. Her body just began to heal after getting it.
You keep coming back to this, don't you?
I mean, that's what it is.
You're right.
Yeah,
you know? Yeah.
Because like people are always like, they'll get better and they'll be like, man, you did whatever you did worked. I'm like, I didn't do anything. I just repositioned the spine. Your body does all the healing. You have the best doctor in the world within you.
Yeah.
Nobody externally can ever tell you how to fix your body, but your body can figure it out.
Oh, that's great, man. Who are you paying attention to in the health and nutrition space? Are the people you're getting inspiration from, or people you're paying attention to, or people you're following currently?
So it's kind of funny. Like, the people that I look up to are dead. So like D.D. Palmer, founder of chiropractic, Reggie Gold, like these are old school chiropractors who just got it, like, and took it to the world. So like, and I've got friends that are chiropractors that I really look up to. Like James and Kaylee Judge, they're out in St. Charles, Illinois. Ryan Sousley, he's out in South Dakota. Yeah, something like that. I like Ryan Berlin. He's in Cincinnati. Greg Lohman, he's out in Naples. Joel Bohemier is in Naples. Really awesome mentor, Dr. Charles Majors. He passed away a couple years ago, but he was in Chicago, Illinois. Like, these are the people that I look up to because they just teach the principle of chiropractic so eloquently. Like, and they just get it. And it's, for us, it's all about, like, you got to practice what you preach. I've seen, there's a lot of out of shape, overweight, sick chiropractors out there.
Oh, okay.
Who are, they're doing great stuff.
Yep.
But I'm like, I just can't get behind you.
Sure.
I can get behind the chiropractic side, but like, you got to practice what you preach.
Yeah.
I forgot Mark Supernaut. He's out in North Carolina. He's all over. He's doing the Facebook thing right now, like doing the lives and stuff. And every time that man speaks, it lights me on fire. So those are
because all those people that you mentioned, are you kind of following them because they're not just able to perform and teach and kind of perpetuate the value and benefits of chiropractic care, but also because they tend to be, or maybe they all are, into the result of that, which is a good, healthy state of the body. Like they're they're probably all into eating decently and all of these other things that go along with it.
Absolutely.
Is that fair?
I mean, that's a big part of it. And then I think the other aspect is, they want to save their towns. Like every single person that lives in their city has the best possible chance of being healthy because they are doing everything they can to reach those people. Mm-hmm. But for those guys and girls, it's not just about their city. It's a worldwide pandemic of sickness that we have. That they're literally like grinding day in and day out to change that for not just for, right now, but for generations to come.
Well, I noticed that on your website. I think it was either in your bio or Cassie's bio or maybe both. By the way, we should have had Cassie come on too. We might have to do this again. Have you both?
We thought
I
about it. She's like one of the busiest people I've ever met.
Are you serious? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, maybe in the future. Anyhow, I noticed on your website that y'all's mission is to change and improve the health of Nashville.
Yeah.
Which that's a big goal.
It is.
How are you going about that in terms of, right, well, if we change or improve one person's health, then another and a third, and that's how you change a city?
That is how you change a city.
Okay.
I really think it's family by family. Mm-hmm. Our whole goal is to teach families how to get healthy and to stay healthy. Because, what is it worth if mom is healthy, but dad and the kids aren't? Mm-hmm. Or a kid is healthy, but mom and dad are sick? Like, no, we want the entire family to be healthy. And then that family pours into their circle of influence. And then that just begins to spread. And that's how you change a city.
Yeah.
And then when you can change a city, you can change a state. And then once you can change a state, you can change a nation. And you change a nation, you change the freaking world.
Yeah. That's great, man. I love that. I love it. By the way, what part of town is your practice for people that are maybe from Nashville listening to this?
So we're in Green Hills.
Okay.
Not too far from the Trader Joe's or the True Food, whatever.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You got a decent place to park?
We have a whole bunch of parking.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. That's one of the things about Green Hills. It feels like every time I go over in that direction, I'm like, oh, geez, where am I going to park?
The cool thing is, the side of town we live on, it's super easy to get there.
Okay.
Creve Hall.
Yeah.
We never get on the highway. We never really get on the highway to go anywhere.
Yeah.
We take back roads, and it takes us right now with no traffic.
That's the beauty right now with the virus.
7 minutes to get there.
Really?
Yeah. And then
you can get from your house to your
to
practice
the office,
in 7 minutes?
7 minutes.
Oh, dang.
And then with traffic, it's like 12.
Bradshaw's probably listening to this right now. What up, Bradshaw?
Hey, Bradshaw, what's
Old
up?
Hickory. Do you know him at all? Now I'm trying to think of his first name. Doggone it. What's his first name? Bradshaw. Stephen Bradshaw? It's embarrassing.
Terry?
It's not Terry. He's been on the podcast before. Great guy. Great practice in Old Hickory. It's up by the school. He's one of the, he's doing it right, like you guys are, for sure. But now that we moved from Mount Juliet, it's 25 minutes.
Yeah.
So I wonder if he'd forgive me if I'd switch.
So we got.
Are you taking new patients?
We're always. We are this week, middle of all this craziness, is probably one of the busiest weeks we've ever had in our office. People are just I think they're just sick and tired of this. And they're like, well, I don't want to get this corona thing. Mm-hmm. So let me take care of myself. But also,
wow, I'm kind of surprised.
Let me look long term. Most of these people are like, let me look long term. Because if you look back, this happens every basically election year.
What happens?
Some type of, you've got the bird flu, the swine flu, all of these happen periodically, and it's usually about every 4 years-ish. So what's the next one going to be?
Yes. Well, no one knows, right?
Exactly. So let me create the terrain so when this next one comes around, it's not going to affect me or my family.
Yes.
So a lot of people are coming in trying to be proactive about taking care of themselves. So it's been great, man.
Well, that's good. That's an indication right there that you're doing something right, man. When people are starting to pay attention to that. I actually think you worded it really well. That idea about the terrain, that's going to stick. That's very helpful. Super helpful. And it's true.
It's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Cancer can't survive in a oxygen-rich, basic environment.
Yes.
We live in an oxygen deprived, acidic environment.
Yeah, for sure.
Inflammation causes 90% of diseases. Inflammation comes from a bad terrain. There's things that are out of balance that's causing the inflammation response. So let's get things back into balance.
Yes.
Get rid of the inflammation.
Yep. Kevin, that's his name. Kevin. Kevin Bradshaw. Sorry about
KB.
that, Kevin. It's just Bradshaw everything, like Bradshaw Chiropractic. I forgot his first name. Anyhow, anything you want to leave with the listeners, and I'll let you get out of here.
I would say the biggest thing is if you've never had your spine evaluated, go get it. And it doesn't have to be with us. Like, as long as somebody's teaching the true principles of chiropractic, that the body heals from above down, inside out, that your nervous system controls every function in your body, and that God designed you perfectly, doesn't make a mistake, and that your body will heal as long as you give it what it needs, go there. Like, I'm all about it. But if somebody's telling you to come back when it hurts, I love you as a chiropractor, but you got to find a different chiro. I'm sorry. Because we can't change a nation when people aren't treating their bodies as a temple of the Holy Spirit. I mean, he died on a cross so that we can live life to the fullest. That doesn't mean dying and suffering the last 10 years of our life.
Or 30.
Or 30.
Yeah. So
if we're told to treat our bodies that way, let's start doing it. And that's my personal mission statement is I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that the body that God gave me is able to do what he put me on the earth to do until I take my last stinking breath.
Love it. Dr. Major, thanks for being on the podcast.
Thanks for having me, man.
Appreciate it. It was great. Great fun.
Yes.